Okay, everybody, what's going on? Here's the thing. You're going to want to text the word canary to 877-740-3226. That's canary to 877-740-3226. Join the text message alert system. There are text messages flying around the world right now. You can text us back. I read them on the show. It's a blast. Make sure to do it. Text the word canary to 877-740-3226, and we're going to get the show started in just a moment. DOGE, the CFPB, and the conservatives are in a messy love-hate relationship triangle with Mark Andreessen's slow-motion staring contest, waiting to see who blinks first. USAID staff were allegedly told to shred, burn, and destroy classified documents, and now the courts are being asked to step in. Canada bans American booze. Doug Ford threatens power cuts, then backtracks. Don't be mad at us, Canadians. China pulled off the first ever hydrogen energy tech deployment in Antarctica because why not? This is Canary Cry News Talk. The show starts now.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is March 12th, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 823. And today, oh no, Canada. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the land of Newscomb to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. Control, chaos, resistance, CCR, baby. Control,
wow.
Chaos, resistance. I guess we're CCNT right now, but close enough.
But
Canary Cry.
that's okay. It's all the same brand, baby. That's
Sure.
some brand recognition. Controlled, chaos. What was the other one? Resistance.
Resistance, yes.
Wow, powerful. Such it's funny because the words you're saying are basically just gobbledygook that you get from the acronym for CCR, Canary Cry Radio. Not this show, a different show. But it sounds like some very powerful, like, left-wing talking points. Like,
It does.
Some Antifa
Control,
chant.
chaos,
Yeah.
resistance. Sounds like the beginning of a 60 Minutes episode or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here we are, folks. We're back. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everybody. What's up to everybody in the chat? Glad you are here. And I guess, technically, I'm glad that we are here, Gonz.
Are we supposed to be? Or is
That's
it bad
a
if we're
good
not
question.
super stoked to be here? Is that...
Well, it depends. Somebody could say that as media personalities, albeit obscure, is sort of micro niche, tiny nobodies, show business.
G, F grade. I'm just thinking. You got your A celebrities, your B.
Oh, right.
We're down.
No, I think we're so far down. We're in the numbers. Like we're not even in the alphabet.
Past the letters.
We're not even in the numbers. We're down in like the punctuation points.
Right.
The at symbol,
Semicolon.
Yeah, the ampersand. That's where we're at.
Okay.
All right, well, let's see here, Gonz. We got a great show today. We're going to make it through. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be extraordinary. Everybody's going to be very proud of us and, in turn, proud of themselves for becoming a part of the, the system that allows for true independent media to thrive in such an environment where even centralized control through corporate incentives has jumped almost like a virus from species, the mainstream media species, to the alternative media species. Alex Jones live right now. What is he at? About 500,000 live viewers? Is that where it was last time?
Yeah. Alex Jones, Charlie Kirk, they're kind of sucking up all
300,000, 320,000 for Alex Jones. Why bother? He's got a lot of big stuff.
There's stuff going on. I mean, some serious stuff going on over there at Infowars. We'll talk about it in a second here. But, in good old presidential fashion, I just want to mention up top here how we're all getting connected, according to Elon.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
And that includes our president, Donald Trump.
We will launch a new age.
And there was a little moment yesterday. Was this at the White House?
A
or was
beautiful
this in
advertising moment. I
Yeah.
mean, this is great actually. This is once again, I think, a way in which Trump and maybe Elon by extension is they're not doing anything new. They're just sort of
No.
exposing the truth that has been true all along, and people are very uncomfortable with that.
So here's Trump standing in front of a building and a red Tesla.
A building,
A what?
just a building, no notable building.
Well,
not a
that's what I was
building.
asking. Is it the White House? It is the
Yes,
White House. Okay,
yeah,
it is
that's the White
All right,
House, yeah.
That's what I asked. I was like, is this at the White House? And you didn't answer, so I didn't know. Okay, here we go. In front of the White House, in front of his new, nice red Tesla.
He actually drove it around. It would really be wild.
Just trying to get in.
I can hear it. I can hear the hum.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
This
He
is a
says.
different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
Ah,
Everything's computer.
everything's computer. Have you been in a Tesla before, Guns?
I have not sat in one, but I've definitely seen.
I'll tell you a little
Inside.
secret. Right now, if somebody's traveling or you're in a new town or something and you need a car, it is now significantly less expensive to rent a car than to take Ubers in most places. And secondarily, because of everything going on, the rental price for Teslas, which used to be in sort of the higher luxury tier of the rental car place, they are all very affordable. They are pretty much the most affordable car to rent in some markets. And I did get to ride in a Tesla once, and I can confirm it is all computer. It is all it is just a iPad. You can't even
Just
control
driving. Yeah.
you can't even control the direction of the air flow from the air conditioner without
What?
using the iPad. I
Oh,
know.
Okay. So
Literally
it's,
no buttons.
It's made for quarantine lockdown when the cyber pandemic takes place.
I'm telling you, it is very uncomfortable. I mean, it's like cool. You're like, wow. It's like cool, like an iPad is cool because it's literally just an iPad. You can't turn anything on or off, or you can't direct the airflow, like I said, anything. I don't even know if you can move the seats without using that iPad. And it's a little bit disconcerting.
Are
There's
we
a
the
little
last?
little
we
bit
the
of
last-
panic set in.
Were we the last generation that had cars with windows that we had to roll up?
Yeah, for sure. We're the last generation to have cars that you have to drive with your hands.
That's
This
true.
is
You're right.
getting
Yeah,
out
this
of
is
control.
getting out of
But
control.
yes, the world is exploding because Tesla and Trump went ahead and did a Tesla commercial at the White House, which is pretty cool. You got Trump test driving a I actually don't know if he test drove it, but just a blood red, a Trump blood red Tesla. I think it's a Roadster. And this has everybody exploding. I mean, this is like I said, we're on the value for value model, of course, which means we don't have any corporate incentives or the mind control practice of advertising that has its roots in mid 20th century occultism. No, none of that. But the White House is a little different. Now, of course, the joke has been made that politicians, they should wear logos on their suits like race car drivers, so we know who's paying the bills.
Yeah.
But here we have just the principality and power of advertising just getting plastered right there on the front of the White House, which is very cool and exciting, and I'm totally for it. Not everybody's for it though, Gons. It makes them a little bit uncomfortable. It was pointed out by some users on Twitter that this isn't just a Trump thing, because Biden also had his EV, I don't know, road show or something, electric vehicle road show at the White House, which Tesla was notably not invited to during the
Yeah,
Biden.
I remember when this happened, by the way.
It was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And you can see here some photos of Joe Biden driving around electric vehicles, taking pictures of
What kind of
these electric
socks is he wearing
vehicles.
there? This is a throwback. It
He's
looks like
fun.
he's got some goat socks or
They're
something.
fun, yes, sending
Yeah.
the messages. So there you go. Of course, everybody knows how I feel about advertising, how it's not simply just an inconvenience interrupting your attempts to entertain yourself or get the news or whatever, but it is a sort of dark, malevolent force that has its tentacles spreading from screen to screen across the entire globe, using mind control techniques to convince everybody they have problems that they don't have and they need to spend money they don't have on products they don't need for the problems that they don't have. And this is strictly the way that, much like how pharma advertising is not to actually advertise, but it's to create a worldview, to create a reality for people where the news is very important and the funding structure is legit. Yes, this beautiful illusion that mainstream media is on the up and up in so many different ways. But not here, folks. We're on the value for value model. So far, no Tesla or anything else
Yeah, if
advertisements.
anybody wants to donate a Tesla to the show, we will be accepting.
I don't
I'll
even
take
know.
a Cybertruck.
I don't even know what I would do with a Tesla at this point. I don't know if a Tesla would even be helpful in my life. It feels like a burden, honestly. Well,
I'm seeing
especially
a lot of Cybertrucks in my neck of the woods here.
well, and of course, as we'll find out soon, owning a Tesla is now just a great way to get your house set on fire. So,
Or it's a revolution. It's a revolution. First of all, I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, Trump is driving the car. He's not allowed to drive." Apparently, former U.S. presidents, including Trump, are prohibited from driving on public roads due to the Secret Service security protocol, but they can
that
drive
true?
on private property.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I remember George W. Bush was driving Putin around in his F-250 on his
Yeah.
ranch in Texas. So
Well,
I get it.
uh,
Go ahead. We
I was
can
going to say
keep going.
some other people. This is a revolutionary moment. We could. This is. I feel that thing again where, remember in 2016, Trump came into power, into office, and I remember distinctly having the opportunity to just go full board Trump support, public MAGA, the whole deal, because you can tell you do that, your audience explodes. You get all kinds of people. I feel the same thing with Tesla and Elon right now. Like if you're pro Elon, you're pro Tesla, you're part of the truth movement now, and you're part of the good guys team. And this is the case for Lily Tang Williams. You know who
Lily
Lily
Tang?
Tang is?
No
Lily
way.
Tang is Lily for Liberty on X. She's a nominee Republican for Congress in 2024. She's a survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution.
Okay.
So maybe she's a plant. But she posted this 33-second video.
Oh, perfect.
What I could have been. I mean, maybe I could have been Lily. But she's sitting in a Tesla, and here she is talking about it.
Hi, I'm inside of my brand new Tesla I bought to support Elon Musk and DOGE. Radical leftists are Marxist communists. They want to shut you down if you do not comply to them, if you're a threat to their corruption, their money, their special interest. I cannot access to my X this morning, the only free speech app in the whole world right now. So I'm going to go buy some more Tesla stocks and support them whenever I can. We must win as the free people.
There you go. See, it's revolution. Go buy some Tesla stock. Go buy a Tesla car. Revolution.
Yeah, and of course that was Trump's point as well. He's saying, "Hey, it's not, we've reported a little bit on, and it continues that Tesla dealerships, Tesla cars, they're getting shot up, they're getting burned up, they're getting. I mean, truly, Trump just designated these these Tesla incidences as terrorism being
rightfully so in the context of what's going on. It is terrorism. You're
terrorism
destroying property. Yeah,
defined as violence to send a political message, which is exactly what's going on with these Tesla things. So that makes sense to me. If you scroll through leftist Twitter, it's him trying to shut down free speech because, of course, torching buildings and shooting people is free speech to these people.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, just call him how I see him, folks. I'm not trying to take sides, just saying what I'm seeing. That video, just the comment with this little Chinese gal, she is
Lily.
tiny. She's so tiny. She's maybe 60, in the 60 range, probably younger. I shouldn't even try to guess her age, but she's in an all white interior Tesla. The Tesla seat looks gigantic.
It looks
She looks like
huge.
a child. And she's sitting in the driver's seat with her hands on the steering wheel, which again, this gal must be like 4'10" or something. And she's wearing this wildly bright tie-dye hoodie sweatshirt. This person is a nominee for some political office, which I'm not even going to ask the questions about.
She survived the Mao Revolution, okay?
I'm
Now
assuming that she's
living in
a
the
citizen.
free-
I'm sure she's did great things for the country. But she's wearing this insanely bright tie-dye t-shirt, which it kind of gives the impression like, oh, she's fun, oh, she's being positive, but her face is like stone cold. I survived the Mao Revolution, and we can't let this happen. Like, totally deadpan, totally serious in this crazy bright hoodie on this bright white Tesla. It's a very powerful visual there.
You know what that reminds me of is in Back to the Future. I believe it's 2 where they go to the future. Marty McFly has a hat, and it's like a tie-dye. I mean, it almost looks identical to the design. I'm trying to pull it up here. So
I don't really recall. 2, was that the one with the Wild West, or was that 3?
Yeah, that's the one where they go. No. Wild West was 3.
Okay.
So 2 is the one where they go into the future. So there's a photo for those of you watching. There's Marty McFly with that hat. It's almost the same tie-dye, like almost identical.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
You nailed it.
This is all just one, and that's the one where they find Biff.
Get Q on
like
this.
a billionaire, and he's got a big old building, and the whole.
And
like
Biff
Trump
is
Tower.
Trump, as we know.
Right,
Biff
that's what I'm
is
saying.
Trump. Yeah,
And Lily is Marty McFly. We figured it out. We figured out the psyop.
Booyah, baby. See?
You thought Marty McFly was some kid from a western or some Midwest town or something? No, it was a survivor of Chinese Mao communist running for Congress.
You're not going to get this analysis anywhere else.
Nowhere else will you get this kind of analysis.
Well, now that we've started this show out with some sort of pseudo crazy commercial for, I don't even know, Back to the Future or China or Tesla or something.
The psyop.
We are on the value for value model, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, or cartels, and we've got some executive producers to thank.
Let's do it.
Whee!
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. You can go to canarycry.support. Become a producer of the show. It's value for value. If you get any value out of what we do here, it's up to you to put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. I know the world's scary right now, but it's even scarier without the support of our producers. Executive producers, they're people who come in, they support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode. And thank goodness we do have one for this episode, Gons.
All right.
All right.
Who is
You
it?
ready?
Yes.
I bet you can guess.
Is it Sir Alex Protocol V2?
It's
Knight of the Berean
executive producer Sir Alex Protocol V2 Baron of the Berean Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I
That's right. He comes in for $100 and 33 cents.
Illuminatus!
I think we're
And
just going to
he's-
have a statue of Sir Alex Protocol.
I was
outside of the
I was thinking
headquarters.
the exact thing. I think
Yeah.
it's time that A, we need to get a headquarters, and B, we need to put a statue of the Baron of the Berean
We
Protocol.
need to be able to do, little ads, native ads like Trump and Elon doing the Tesla thing, except
We're-
it'll be for
We're
our
doing it's
producers.
just it's ads for producers. That's what all this is. It's clout. If any of them are single or something, it's a pretty big deal. You're like you're looking for a boyfriend, looking for a girlfriend. You've got a whole list of the knights and dames of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. Head on over to canarycrynewstalk.com/roundtable, and maybe we should put a separate section for all the knights and dames, like single and ready to mingle.
the single knights and dames.
I have no idea what Sir Alex Protocol's status is marital wise, but he is on a 377 episode streak and a 30 episode executive producer streak. Thank you very much. And a big old humongous thank you to every single one of the monthly producers. If you're coming in with the Canary Cry Supply Drop, the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council, or just make up your own monthly producership. It is that consistency and faithfulness of the monthly producers that gives us a tomorrow, Gon. So thank you very much to all of the monthly producers. A big shout out to all the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council. Go to canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com. And the vote is on. The Canary Cry T-Shirt Council is currently, as we speak, go check your mailbox. You might need to check your promotions or spam folder or whatever. You should have the email and the survey. The Canary Cry T-Shirt Council is busy making the most important decision that could possibly be made, and that is what this quarter's Canary Cry T-shirt is. So go do that. The voting is open until, I believe, next Wednesday. So go get your vote in, please. Okay. With that, Gons, I think it's time to start the show. What do you say?
Let's doge it up.
The greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk.
Doge. Oh, did I skip something?
I have no idea. I'm not even on the right
I think
page.
I skipped the... Yeah.
Oh, okay, Alex Jones is first.
Yeah. Before we... Yes, let's do Alex Jones before we do go back to Doge there.
The canary in the coal mine.
Ooh.
Elon Musk may be the Antichrist. We're made by the aliens. They've been creating animal-human hybrids for decades.
Yeah. And this particular story is about killing.
It will kill.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty intense. We have Alex Jones here this morning after his workout. He's driving to the office or something. He talks a little bit about the murder of Jamie White, who was an Infowars reporter over the last couple days. Very sad. I mean, he was such a young guy. Apparently he was murdered. We'll talk about that in a second, but here's Alex Jones discussing some of that. And I don't know, he's dropping this canary in the coal mine thing quite a bit.
All right, I've got some very critical news to everyone out there, not just to Infowars, but to the people of America and the world, because my operation is a major canary in the coal mine, indicating where humanity is in their fight against the globalist, extinctionist death cult. As you know, our reporter Jamie White was murdered late Sunday night. Was shot execution style through the neck a few miles from our offices outside his home. Then yesterday, Chase Geiser got swatted during the day. No one was home. And then last night, someone impersonating him called the Austin Police Department and said that he had basically tied up his wife and children and was going to kill them. And they came to the house with loudspeakers, told him to come out with his hands up, guns pointed at him, put him in handcuffs, went into the house and found his wife and 2 young daughters sleeping. And they said, no, someone called in impersonating you. They had literally dozens of swats that they didn't respond to after the daytime one. Now, that's just the backdrop of what's going on. I've had some high-level folks in Army Special Operations call me 2 days ago saying that they're getting major intel that there are hit teams out with a high priority to kill me and others.
So it was General Flynn was one of those people that was calling in, and there's another video after this where he talks about that. But yeah, I mean, did we expect anything less when it comes to part theater, but also, you know, we've often said, because, you know, there was a period of time, especially since Trump came into the political arena 2015, 2016, where I've seen a split of opinions of like, it's all theater, it's all kayfabe, it's all fake, it's all staged, Basil, but also that real people actually get hurt, real people die and stuff like that. So two things can be true at the same time, where yes, there's this big staging of narratives and pushing of narratives and all this kind of stuff, and it's all kayfabe to a sense, but there's real collateral damage in that. People actually get killed, people die. It's a real thing. And so I don't want anybody to kill Alex Jones or hurt him or anything like that. I don't think any of us around here want that. But
yeah,
then,
well,
go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say that it does. I can't help but have it cross my mind about how this is ultimately somewhat beneficial for the bottom line of the whole empire of Infowars And the whole truth movement in general, Alex Jones gets murdered. I mean, you're talking about serious Civil War level revolution type of stuff that can go down. Similar to how if Trump got killed, that would, similar types of things can happen. So in that sense, it just makes me, I pray for his safety. I pray for his family's safety, everyone over there at Infowars. But at the same time, it's good attention grabbing stuff, So it's having that mixed feeling.
Yeah. Well, it's just a couple more of these details here. There is no details released about this.
Here's some
this
more
fella.
details. There's no details.
Yeah. So, of course, well, first of all, the first thing that people are noting is that this fella, not Alex, the gentleman who was killed.
Jamie White.
Jamie. He appeared on one of the enemies of Ukraine list. This is a big thing that is being considered here. Remember, these lists, they kind of started in 2022, almost immediately, listing folks like Tucker Carlson, really anybody who is questioning the establishment narrative. The other side of this is that Austin is a weird place right now. Crime is out of control. Homicides are out of control. We also have an ongoing sort of serial killer situation in Austin that, doesn't get a whole lot of attention, but I believe William Ramsey is on the case with that. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Austin in general. Alex Jones didn't jump right on the Ukraine hit list thing. In fact, he was taking some time to just kind of generally blame the Soros DA in Austin, who is letting crime get out of control. So we don't know exactly what the nature of this situation was. Not that it really changes anything. Are any of these possibilities believable? Yes, they're all entirely believable. But yeah, very sad when you get into using words like staged, which I obviously have an issue with, and kayfabe and things like that. We got to remember that when we talk about theater or we talk about kayfabe, things like that, it's in recognition that there are competing forces, unstoppable competing forces with competing narratives that are playing out all around us. And yes, all the world's a stage doesn't mean that the consequences aren't real. And this is just one very kind of spooky example of that.
Yeah. Given the sentiment of everything going on, this adds a little bit of fear on top of everything else, which I think is what ultimately the plan of whoever was behind all this, is that was what they want to do. The independent.co.uk, or is this, the Independent UK, had the headline, "Family Reveals Possible Motive Behind Brutal Murder of Infowars Reporter." And it says an Infowars reporter was brutally murdered not because of his job, but by a suspect who was trying to break into his car, his heartbroken family has revealed. Jamie White was killed last Sunday near his Texas apartment in a suspected homicide, his family confirmed. Quote, "I don't believe it was targeted," White's sister, Kelly Neal, told The Independent. Quote, "He was shot by a person or persons trying to break into his car for a second time." Kelly explained that her brother's car had first been broken into when he was home for Christmas. A tragic, quote, "a tragic accident, but we haven't heard much else," she added. Quote, "I hope whoever took his life is caught and brought to justice. My father and I are devastated, to say the least." White's death was first reported on Monday afternoon when far-right radio host Alex Jones announced it on his broadcast, saying that his, quote, "best reporter had been brutally murdered." Jones accused Austin's Democratic District Attorney and other Democrats across the country of, quote, "aiding and abetting in White's death by failing to control crime," calling them demons. The Austin Police Department said in a statement Tuesday that officers responded to the call of a shooting at the Chandelier Apartments located at 2336 Douglas Street. When police arrived, they found White lying on the ground in the parking lot of the apartment complex where he lived with, quote, "obvious signs of trauma to his body." He was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead at 12:19 a.m. on Monday. Quote, the initial investigation shows that White was shot and killed in the parking lot of the apartment complex in which he lived. The statement read, quote, the suspects that fled the scene, then fled the scene. Detectives believe the suspects were possibly burglarizing White's vehicle while he interrupted them. It's unclear how long White, 36, had worked for Infowars. He was a graduate of Ohio University. Quote, I come to the Infowars family of viewers and listeners. And
How
to
is
the
it
world with
unclear? Did they just not check with AJ? Did they just not call Infowars and say, how long does this guy work for you?
I don't know. I don't know. That was weird. I don't know why it's unclear, especially because they have a quote here. I come to the Infowars family of viewers and listeners into the world with some really horrible news. Jones said in a post on X, quote, there's a lot of really cool people that have worked at Infowars over the years, and one of the most amazing people was Jamie White. Jamie was murdered last night outside of his home just a few miles from our studio. So, it's interesting how they frame it with the mainstream, quoting his sister saying like, no, there's nothing going on.
Yeah,
and
of course the mainstream is going to, yes,
lean
they
into
don't want
that
it.
stuff, right?
Yeah, because it makes him a martyr, if it is,
Right.
if it is, some sort of thing. The mainstream doesn't even want to entertain the idea that he could be a martyr for speaking either truth or dangerous conspiracy theories, because they're in denial that the left has a violent bone in their body. As, like we mentioned, Teslas are getting shot up, things are getting exploded. It's the mainstream media's job to try to convince us that despite what our eyes see and how big the flames are, that the left is, mostly peaceful in their protests and in their political action.
No, has not been the case the last few years,
regardless of the violent rhetoric. They accuse the right of all this violent rhetoric. And then you've got actual Democrat politicians coming out and, what was that guy? I think he was a Democrat senator, came out and said, it's time to use real weapons against Elon Musk. And then
right, yes.
He got in trouble. They're like, okay,
trouble,
well, we're going to investigate you now because you said to use real weapons. And he's like, no, I meant like politically. It's like, okay, so it doesn't actually matter when you say it. It doesn't matter what the actual words you say, even if you're literally calling to use real weapons against somebody.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
was
kind of their way.
Congressman, what's his name here? Congressman Robert Garcia of California. Great, California.
Yes.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm,
yes, bring actual weapons and fight for democracy. That's his quote.
Now it's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm not mixing up my details from different stories. If he drove a Tesla and it was in Sentry mode, then there would be video evidence of everything. The other side of it is, the mainstream just saying is a failed carjacking. That isn't a great look for Austin in general. But it's also like, look, if there was some sort of coordinated, I don't know, hit or something, it's not like the person would walk up and be like, this is for Ukraine, or this is, you don't say those things.
It was actually Zelensky doing
you crazy conspiracy theorist.
That's terrible.
Like, that's not, you would hide it as some sort of burglary or hijacking. It's 101 stuff here,
101,
folks.
Yeah, 101 Soros playbook.
Yeah, very sad, but
it does. It again, I think it raises the anxiety level of this whole truth movement, this awakening, the whole techno-populism thing going on, because it seems like, and to Alex's point, because he rants on about, they're upset, they're mad, they're losing. This is why they have to turn to these tactics, and maybe there is some truth to that in the context of the game, in the actual war for narratives that the left-leaning folks or the people that used that as the tool or whatever are losing the population, or not the population, but the popular sentiment. Most people are not like, hey, let's go burn stuff and blow stuff up and destroy our country and things like that. So they've lost the support of so many people that they have nothing to lose almost.
Right.
They can go to these tactics that was actually starting to hurt people and kill people and whatnot, which is troubling.
I mean, it's not really new. At least
it's not new. That was my point. Is
that
that's been the thing for it's been the thing for a long time. It's just in the context of where we are politically now, it seems like it's more. I don't know. It's more scary because we're winning. That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's going to crank up. Yes, when
up.
they're not in power, they have less to lose.
Mm-hmm.
We got a message just before we move on to the next thing. Enslaved by Truth says, "Made by Jim Bob was going to send y'all a chat raid with 500 viewers. A, what is that? And B, it says, but y'all don't have it turned on. Do you know what he's talking about here?
I don't
what
know.
does turned
Is it on
mean?
X?
No, it's on YouTube.
On YouTube?
Yeah. Do we need to turn something on for a chat raid? Is that when? Do we want that? Is that when people can send?
Are those bots? I don't want a bunch of bots hitting our account, but
if it's anything like Twitch,
bots.
if it's anything like Twitch raids, when you finish your stream, you can actually send your people
right.
over to the next stream. So
right. Hey, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. I just don't know.
Great. I don't know if somebody wants to give us instructions on how to do that. Maybe we'll do
a
couple
of old curmudgeons over here. We don't know how to. I'm like Trump. It's all computer.
It's all computers.
All computer. Everything in front of me, all computer.
The streaming stuff is all computers. Well, it's crazy. Well, if somebody want to give us some instruction on that, we'll be happy to check it out. I'm sure maybe the time has passed for this one, but if that's something people are interested in, hey, that's fine. I'm down. But while that sort of ambiently gets figured out, it's time to check in on DOGE.
The greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk.
DOGE. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that.
The little bonk at the end of that is so funny. Okay, well, let's start out with some big news this morning. This is coming from the BBC. Oh, we went with the BBC. Okay.
Well, I'm just going in order.
Actually, hold on. No. We're doing New York Post. Let's do New York Post, right? We're supposed to cut one of these.
What confused me was the headline for the BBC is what you put for the New York Post in the document.
Okay, cool. So here's the New York Post. We'll check. We'll see which one. We were actually supposed to decide between these before the show, but we got distracted.
Okay.
Here's the headline. USAID staffers ordered to shred, burn classified documents as agency dismantled by Trump, official. Remaining staffers at the U.S. Agency for International Development have been ordered to start burning and shredding classified records as the Trump administration forges ahead with dismantling the agency, an internal directive shows. In a Tuesday email to staffers, USAID Acting Executive Director Erica Carr called for an all-day effort to help destroy sensitive agency documents at the all-but-shuttered headquarters in Washington, D.C. So, let's see. The Acting Executive Director Erica Carr, is she a Trump appointee? That's a question. You want to do a little Google search?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Because if she's acting, that means could have possibly been Trump's pick to head it up. Quote, "Thank you for your assistance in clearing out our classified safes and personnel documents," began the email, which bore a USAID logo. Quote, "Shred as many documents first," the email continued, adding that staffers should stuff remaining classified material into designated, quote, "burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break." Oh, yeah, well, it sounds like they're getting ready to shred enough documents that the shredders might need, the union-sanctioned break time. Staffers were also told to write, quote, "secret" on the burn bags with a marker. The email did not elaborate on why the documents should be destroyed. The State Department, which is absorbing much of USAID's functions, didn't respond to a request for comment. Meanwhile, a union for USAID workers has asked a federal judge to halt any destruction of classified documents to preserve evidence as lawsuits begin to pile up over the abrupt shutdown of the 64-year-old agency. President Trump quickly moved to start dismantling USAID. Yes, we know this. Then it just kind of goes into some of the history of the USAID shutdown. All right, what's the word on this Erica Carr gal?
Apparently, make sure we're in the right thing here. Reports indicate that she was appointed as the acting executive secretary of USAID during President Biden's first week in office.
Okay, so it is a
2021.
Biden gal.
Yep,
All
it's a
right.
Biden
So this
gal.
is a Biden appointee ordering the destroying of documents. Okay.
makes more
There
sense
was a
than-
part of me that was almost like, uh-oh, here we go. So there's a couple things we're going to cover today. I get it. People often are under the impression that we're, Trump shills. We may be excited about certain things happening that align with some political inclinations, but we're not
getting our hopes up, by the way. Like even the Epstein
getting our
stuff a
hopes
couple
up.
weeks
Very
ago, people were
skeptical.
so pumped about that,
Yes.
and then I was like, hey, don't get too excited, and then
promises
wah,
are
wah,
different than what's
everybody-
happening.
everybody
Right.
was
So
let down.
So part of me, I was a little bit in that mood when I was reading this thing, and I'm like, acting director. Okay, is that, because Trump gets to put in his own people when he comes in. I thought maybe USAID was included, and a sort of Trump-led destruction of documents is just kind of weird, a little suspicious, and not really in line with
Burn it all.
with
Burn
what
it,
we
just
like to
burn it.
see. Right. So this is Erica Carr, the Biden appointee for the USAID, trying to destroy documents before people get to it, trying to figure out USAID.
That's what they do, though. I mean, I remember, I bring it up often, but there was a university in Texas, I forget which one, maybe it was SMU, I think it was SMU, where the Chinese communist crew or whatever, they were outed at SMU, and there was like aerial footage of some Chinese guy on the roof of one of the SMU buildings burning documents in a trash can. That's what they do. They burn documents when they get caught. Yeah, it's a whole
It's a classic.
thing. Yeah.
Burn after reading. That's a good thing. Yeah, very interesting. Obviously extremely alarming. When you go to why don't you jump over to the BBC, read a little bit of that BBC too, because just in case we're tempted to think that we're getting some sort of New York Post right-wing, thing, check that BBC one.
Right-wing angle. This is BBC. USAID staff told to shred and burn classified documents written by Kayla Epstein. Oh, okay. Unfortunate name. It says here, staff at the U.S. Agency for International Development have been told to shred and burn classified documents and personnel files. The request raised alarm among employees and labor groups amid the ongoing dismantling of the agency. Acting Executive Secretary Erica Y. Carr sent an email that thanked staff for clearing out classified safes and personnel documents from a Washington, D.C. office and told them to meet in the building's lobby for an all-day disposal event on Tuesday.
An event.
It's
an
Bring
event.
your papers. Bring all of the papers. We're going to burn it all. Quote,
Bring all your favorite sensitive
favorite
classified
sensitive
documents.
It's a bonfire, everybody. It's a potluck. Quote, shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes available or needs a break, her email staff.
That's a crazy part to do. Like, it's kind of this weird, sanitized sort of corporate speak. But what it's really saying is destroy no matter what.
Right.
Even if the machines stop working, even, like, here's the backup. If you're unable to destroy any more documents because you've destroyed so many documents that it's destroyed the document destroyer, then put it in the bag and set it on fire. There's no slowing down. This is a burn event. This is a community event.
I like the next sentence. Typically, documents placed in burn bags for disposal are sealed and then taken to a secure site for incineration. Typically, but not today. Not today at USAID. The email asked staff not to overfill the burn bags and label them with the words secret and USAID B/IO, which stands for Bureau or Independent Office using permanent markers. The BBC has viewed a copy of the email, which was also reported by its U.S. partner, CBS News. They've been doing that a lot recently. The BBC, calling out their partners in the U.S., the mainstream media partners. They used to not do that. It's very interesting to me. It was first reported by ProPublica. The U.S. State Department did not immediately return a request for comment. It was not immediately clear if the agency had preserved copies of the documents marked for destruction. The American Foreign Services Association, the AFSA, a union representing USAID staff, was aware employees had been asked to shred documents. Spokesperson Nikki Gamer, told the BBC. The union said it was, quote, alarmed by the report and warned that such documents, quote, may be relevant to ongoing litigation regarding the termination of USAID employees and the cessation of USAID grants.
Yeah, interesting too, the union. You would think that now, look, Trump has been very good with navigating unions in general. He has, he's really, he knows how to work. He knows how to work with the union system. Of course, we know the union system is not necessarily simply what it presents itself to be. And, he's a New Yorker. Trump, the self-described king of New York, will know how to work with unions. He's a real estate developer. He's used to this sort of thing. And that's been one of the kind of more impressive pieces of his ability to navigate the sort of the election thing is unions are sort of generally assumed to be aligned with Democrats for obvious reasons, but Trump has been able to, fudge that assumption enough that it works. So especially a federal employee union being like, hey, why are you destroying documents? You would think that they would want to sort of protect the establishment narrative on things, which it sounds like destroying these documents is here to protect people. Usually it is, rather than bring truth and transparency to where all of our money has been going. So I thought it was interesting. BBC's sort of what's the word? Attention. The request raised alarm among employees and labor groups amid the ongoing dismantling of the agency. Well, that's just a doozy. I mean, I guess it's not surprising. How do you stop? I guess this is one of those times when it really does come down to the individuals on the ground. If the employees who are being asked to destroy documents, they're the ones who could slow it down. We've heard a lot about how federal employees can and do and will slow down the bureaucracy of RFK and the health CDC and NIH and stuff like that. We've heard how a lot of this through Project Veritas secret recordings, talking about how federal employees plan on just bureaucratically halting so many things. And in this case, it's an opportunity for some USAID employees who perhaps, I don't know how many are even left, the ones that are left, to be like, I don't know about this, guys. Maybe they could get some points with the big man.
The new guy coming in.
Right, by not shredding the documents. Plus it could be illegal. That's another thing.
Yeah, that was my question. I'm surprised nobody addressed it in the mainstream. Is it okay to just start burning government documents?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's legal, but I don't know. I guess it's okay if a Democrat or a lefty does it or something. Yeah. Biden appointed folk.
Sorry, I'm also trying to figure out how to turn on raids for the channel while we're doing this.
Oh, you're actually
now,
in there? Okay.
Yeah, I was checking it out. We got some instructions in the chat, but it's not showing up the way
you and I are
describing.
Getting so old, Basil. It's kind of sad to watch.
I know.
You're all watching. We were in our prime, and now we are going into the slow decline of getting old and curmudgeon. And
AP
chat raid. I don't even know what that means.
AP headline: Court asked to intervene after email tells USAID workers to destroy something. Elements,
there you go.
Documents. So there we go. We got a union for the U.S. Agency for International Development Contractors asked a federal judge Tuesday to intervene with any destruction of classified documents after an email ordered staffers to help burn and shred agency records. Yeah, so this, it just says a union. It's not naming the union. Nobody's naming the union, but there we go. The union for the U.S. Agency for International Development Employees apparently is stepping in, seemingly on behalf of Trump, unless there's some sort of double crossing like switcheroo here where Erica Carr is burning them on behalf of Trump. But trying to, I don't know. There's many ways this could go.
You never know.
Judge
we only
Carl,
see what we see.
Judge Carl Nichols set a Wednesday morning deadline for the plaintiffs. Wednesday morning, but today is destruction day. It's shredder day today. You can't do it tomorrow. Set a Wednesday morning deadline for the plaintiffs and the government to brief him on the issue. A person familiar with the email who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of reprisal verified that it was sent to at least some essential personnel. I don't know why this person would fear. Well, I guess yes, they should fear reprisal. I'm thinking more from the establishment side. It comes as Trump administration has been dismantling. Yes, we know he's dismantling.
I have a list of the unions here in case anybody wants to do some deeper diving there. The American Federation of Government Employees, the AFGE, the let's see, what's the other one? American Foreign Service Association, the AFSA, and the Personal Service Contractor Association. Those are the three that are listed for as unions for the USAID. So there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
There
a lot of acronyms. A lot of acronyms today. Just a lot of A's and B's and D's and C's.
All right. I can only find videos about how to allow raids, so I don't want to crash my computer by trying to watch a video.
Is it just a thing that you toggle
It's
in the
just
back
a
end?
setting. They're saying it's
Okay,
in
let me see.
settings and then community and then what? Where'd it go? Should be at the very bottom of the community page that pops up when you select settings in YouTube Studio. I did try to do that, and it doesn't show me what I'm told it should be shown. Maybe I'm messing it up. So, anyways, why don't you go ahead and try to take a stab at it while I talk about the CFPB.
Yeah, go
More
for
Doge.
it. This is more Doge.
More Doge. This is coming from Business Insider. Now, keep in mind, this is from Business Insider, February 10th. Okay.
The link is dead. It doesn't work for me. It's one of those archive links. So let me try to
the
find
archive
it.
doesn't work for you, does it?
Yeah, it
All
does
right.
not. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. So what's the
I don't know what to do.
what's the headline? Or
I
you can
guess
pull up the.
I could, in theory, show you my screen. Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Let's see.
You should do
here.
that.
I should. I'm gonna give it a try here. I don't know if my screen is gonna pop up. You might need to take yours down.
It automatically removes mine when you put yours
Automatically
up. Yeah.
switches. Let's give it a go. Add to stage. Add to stage.
Add to
There
stage.
it is.
There you go. Hey,
Now
look
it's
at
going to
that.
be a little small, I think, because
It's it's
here, let's
very
try to
it's
make it.
it's thin. It's thin.
Yeah, it's.
Can
an
you change
archive
the
page.
shape of your window?
Nope. I
Wow.
got it. Here we go. This is what we got. Dismantling the CFPB would turn the consumer finance world into the wild, wild west, its former director says. The first director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau warned against eliminating the independent watchdog agency. Aren't they all independent watchdog agencies? It just seems to be how they are. I don't know if we have any agency, apparently, that is not an independent watchdog agency. Telling Business Insider that it would strip oversight of financial firms and harm U.S. customers. Quote, "We'd be back to the wild, wild west for financial services that affect families all over the country in terms of what their terms would be on their credit cards, on their mortgages, on their products. There would be no oversight of that." Richard Cordry, the first led the CFPB when it was established in 2011 after the Great Recession to help prevent another financial crisis, told BI Business Insider. Quote, "Companies could act in their own interest at the expense of consumers," he added. "It would be as though we were saying to a neighborhood, quote, 'Go ahead and enforce your laws. We will withdraw the police. We will not have any kind of enforcement of the law.'" Well, that's not maybe the worst idea, but I get the metaphor he's trying to say. On Sunday, the CFPB told its staff that its D.C. headquarters would be closed this week, that was February 10th, and that they should work remotely, according to an email from the agency's COO, Adam Martinez, that was seen by the FBI. On Monday, the CFPB's new acting director, Russell Vought, told employees in an email seen by BI to, quote, "stand down from performing any work task." So, Doge, this is a very interesting example of Doge doing its good work, I'd say. It is, well, what's going on here? Hold on. Here we go. It's another one of these government agencies. This is an extremely young agency, only about 14 years old. And its job was to sort of oversee financial institutions, financial products, kind of keep an eye on things like credit card interest rates, credit card fees, bank overdraft, I think is included. And the reason this is important is because we are in this very interesting time where it's not just banks handling our money anymore. It is also Silicon Valley. It's Venmo. It's PayPal. It's all, these tech companies who want so badly to be your bank. And we haven't talked a whole lot about it recently, but this has been a topic of conversation here for quite some time, which is, hey, these technocratic overlords, they want to be everything to you. They don't just want to be your social media. They want to be your bank. They don't just want to be your, whatever cloud service. They also want to handle your payments, things like this. Because it really is maybe not the last. They're very creative. I'm sure they will think of other things to take over in our lives. But it's really kind of the last bastion of control for the technocratic populist overlords, the technate, the real threat that we see. It's not about left and right. It's about sort of control over freedom, or there's a lot of ways to split it up. But folks like Elon, folks like Peter Thiel, like Mark Andreessen, all these sort of fellas, they are significantly more interested in being your bank than they are being your, I don't know, but a social media company. I mean, they're both profitable, but of course they want to get in between you and your money. And so CFPB is one of these institutions that, at least in theory, was created to kind of rein this in a little bit, or at least create some sort of oversight. Before we get to this clip, I want to take, I'll give you this. Let's do this. Let me share this tab instead. This is CNN reporting.
I got that.
You got it. Okay, go
You
ahead.
can bring me back into the thing.
Sure,
And I also
sure.
turned on the raid. I was able to.
Oh, you figured
turn
it
on.
out.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
so.
well,
We'll see. Let's find out.
We'll see what happens. At least next time somebody wants to raid, the raid is turned on. Yep. All right, so CNN. DOGE's efforts to dismantle consumer finance agency have slowed, official testifies. Now, this was published 2 days ago, March 10th. So this is a full month between the, it's been sort of a slow descent for CFPB. Let's see what it says, the recent update. A top official at the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau testified in court Monday that efforts by DOGE to quickly and aggressively abolish the agency have been somewhat reined in by Trump-appointed agency leadership in recent weeks. So this is where we have an example of DOGE, Elon, trying to close down the CFPB as quick as possible, but a Trump-appointed leader at the agency is actually testifying in court to at least slow or maybe even protect parts of the CFPB. A testimony from Adam Martinez, the CFPB's chief operating officer, was the first time that a government witness has taken the witness stand in one of the dozens of legal challenges to President Donald Trump's sweeping overhaul of the federal government. The case, brought by a federal employee union, so now we got one of these unions again, is kind of come the other. See, this is why it makes me wonder what's going on over at the USAID Shredfest, where the unions are stepping in to stop the shredding. Over here, we have the federal employee union that is trying to protect CFPB and other organizations, has already resulted in a temporary court order that halted the termination of hundreds of CFPB employees. In several cases, the Trump administration is seeking to downplay the Department of Government Efficiency's influence across the government, with court declarations describing agency heads as the ultimate decision makers behind the massing staffing cuts and work stoppages. Martinez says that the engagement of acting CFPB head Russ Vought and Mark Paoletta, a top legal advisor, has led to a, quote, slower pace of decision-making. that started in mid-February after, quote, big-time confusion that dominated the first full week of that DOGE had started its work at CFPB. Then it goes into this long story about how everybody was so confused and nobody knew what was going on and blah, blah, blah. And so we have another sort of interesting dynamic here where, you know, CFPB is probably not something that a whole lot of people know about, at least until recently. However, a lot of people learned about CFPB from Mark Andreessen when he popped up on the Joe Rogan show. And here's a clip of Mark Andreessen talking about the CFPB.
So, like, for example, we have this thing called the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, CFPB, which was it's sort of Elizabeth Warren's personal agency that she gets to control. And it's an independent agency that just gets to run and do whatever it wants, right? And if you read the Constitution, like, there is no such thing as an independent agency, and yet there it is.
What does her agency do?
Whatever she wants.
What does it do, though?
Basically, terrorize financial institutions, prevent fintech, prevent new competition, new startups that want to compete with the big banks.
Really?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
How so?
Just by terrorizing anybody who tries to do anything new in financial services.
Can you give me an example?
Sorry, I see you were working on something. So right there, now it's easy to just blast through this clip with Mark and just be like, yeah, Elizabeth Warren, her personal agency? Yeah, get that out of here. What's going on here? And when Joe Rogan, as he often does, pushes, is like, no, what does it do though? And he's like, oh, just whatever Liz Warren wants. No, but what does it do? What's the thing for? Just whatever. No. And then he says it's I missed the exact words, but something to the effect of basically regulating tech companies who want to compete,
eliminate
in the
competition
finance.
Is what I think he said, or prevent competition. Or
Move it back a little bit. I think he says a couple things.
What does it do, though?
Basically, terrorize financial institutions, prevent fintech, prevent new competition, new startups that want to compete with the big banks.
Really?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
How so?
Just by terrorizing anybody who tries to do anything new in financial services.
Just
Can you give me an example?
Just terrorizing.
What do you mean terrorize? What does that mean?
Just terrorizing. But, you know, what he's obviously saying, and this is that the tech companies want to become banks, but they can't become banks because they have to register as banks and they have to play by these rules. I mean, even the phrase terrorizing financial institutions is like, okay, I think it's okay sometimes for the banks and financial hedge fund. Like, who cares about terrorizing financial institutions? And this clip is like nestled right in this Mark Andreessen interview, which, you know, he talked a lot of stuff. He talked a lot of, I'll say a lot of it was kind of in line, like a lot of it was true. But here you got to remember, this guy is a billionaire. He's in business with all the other billionaires.
He's a big crypto guy too.
I believe he's
crypto guy.
Is he in business with Reid Hoffman? Let me do a quick little search here. So Reid Hoffman, of course, the biggest Democrat donor in the world, and also the guy who sent the email threatening the mainstream media. What thing was it? Was it about the assassination attempt of Trump? I think it was. He sent an email threatening mainstream media saying, you know, basically...
You're talking about Reid Hoffman did, right?
Reid Hoffman,
the email that went out to LinkedIn employees or something?
No, it went out to
or the
reporters.
It went out
to reporters, semaphore,
right.
Stuff like that. Let's see here. Mark Andreessen and LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman. Yeah, they're appearing quite often. Anyways, whether or not they're directly,
I don't think they're actually directly working together.
I think I saw that they were actually in business on a project somewhere. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He's still in this, and Mark Andreessen is one of these guys who flipped. He's one of the billionaires who flipped. He's not necessarily like a principled Republican or Trump supporter. He's kind of like Elon. And he's coming out and saying like, oh, this government agency, which was put into place after the Great Recession, it terrorizes financial institutions. Like, we're kind of supposed to, like, you know, feel for the
bad
banks,
about it.
feel bad about Venmo, Venmo, by the way, PayPal, these are the companies that were debanking people. Now, go ahead and keep playing the clip.
Example?
Well, like I said, debanking. This is where a lot of the debanking comes from, is these agencies. So debanking is when you as either a person or your company are literally kicked out of the banking system.
Like they did to Kanye.
Exactly, like they did to Kanye. My partner Ben's father has been debanked.
Really?
We had an employee who
for what?
For having the wrong politics, for saying unacceptable things. Under current banking regulations, here's a great thing. Under current banking regulations, after all the reforms of the last 20 years, there's now a category called a politically exposed person. PEP, and if you are a PEP, you are required by financial regulators to kick them off of to kick them out of your bank. You're not allowed to have
What if you're politically on the left?
Well, that's fine.
No,
because they're not politically exposed.
So no one on the left gets debanked.
Now, I have not heard of a single instance of anybody on the left getting debanked.
Can you tell me what the person that you know did, what they said that got them debanked?
Oh well, I mean, David Horowitz is a right wing. He's pro-Trump. I mean, he said all kinds of things. He's been very anti-Islamic terrorism. He's been very worried about migration, all these things.
And they debanked him for that.
Yeah, they debanked it. So you get kicked out of your bank account. You get kicked out of you can't do credit card transactions. But, by the way, you can't.
How is that legal?
Well, exactly. So this is the thing, and then you go in this thing of like, well, this is where the government and the companies get intertwined. Back to your fascism point, which is there's a constitutional amendment that says the government can't restrict your speech, but there's no constitutional amendment that says the government can't debank you, right? And so if they can't do the one thing, they do the other thing, and then they don't have to debank you. They just have to put pressure on the private company banks to do it, and then the private company banks do it because they're expected to, but the government gets to say we didn't do it.
Okay, so according to Mark Andreessen here, he's making the case that the CFPB is responsible for debanking people, that the CFPB is either making the regulations or giving the orders or something to debank people on, according to, politics, whatever your politics are. And now I go, okay, that's very interesting. I don't know about this. It just doesn't sound right. Why am I supposed to be taking the side of the banks? Why am I supposed to be taking the side of the Venmos and the PayPals? We've had our own, wobbly moments with payment processors. Mm-hmm. So, we've kind of experienced that. And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't remember it going that way. I remember PayPal writing their terms of service to debank. I don't remember exactly what this is, so I started going back. And there's it's very hard to find mainstream media reporting on those incidences from back then. I mean, you can do it, but for the purposes of the information that I'm looking for here regarding CFPB specifically, not a whole lot was showing up. In fact, I started finding kind of the opposite. One guy who was doing the digging on this, and this explains why we weren't hearing a whole lot of it, was Li Feng. And I popped Li Feng's wiki there for you, Gons, just so we can catch up on Li Feng, if people don't remember it. Li Hu Feng is an American journalist. He was previously an investigative reporter at The Intercept and contributing writer at The Nation and writer at the Republic Record. He began his career as investigative blogger for Think Progress. Feng
He looks like my son. He can be my son. Actually, he's too old to be my son. But
so now he's one of these. He's one of these guys who was part of the Intercept back when it wasn't what it is now, in my opinion. But it was also kind of part of the Twitter file thing. In December 2022, Feng reported in the Intercept that the Twitter provided direct approval and internal protections for the U.S. military's network of social media accounts and online personas. Back when the Intercept wasn't, I think it was 2023 or 2024 when the Intercept obviously had been infiltrated and people got kicked out. I think that's when Li Feng got kicked out, not to I don't know, protect the Intercept or something. But so Li Feng's one of these guys who helped with the Twitter files. He's kind of in this, he's a liberal guy, but one of these sort of old school left, like, what's the word?
Truther.
Yeah,
left
like
truthers.
kind of like left truther thing.
Right. When it was still countercultural to speak against the establishment. Or
Exactly.
The left was the pillar of counterculture or counter government or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's kind of the thing that we've tried to make a point of over the years, which is like, look, I don't care if somebody's politics are necessarily left or right, but if it's anti-establishment is kind of the main thing. And that's what The Intercept used to be. It used to be this like hold them to account, not anti-establishment, but we got the eye on the establishment thing. He even said here in his political views on the wiki, according to Feng, regarding his field research for his book, The Machine, A Field Guide to the Resurgent Right, quote, I like hanging out with fully grassroots Tea Party activists because for the most part, whatever their motivations are, they're just upset about society and they want to do something about it, which at the core I respect, even though I pretty much disagree with their worldview. So he's kind of one of these guys. Mm-hmm. Now, Li Feng, of course, had to, get out of the mainstream media, and he has lifeng.com. So this was some independent research that he put together. Debanking realignment, CFPB to protect Christian free speech. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, this was in 2024, he wrote this, in a legal filing to an appeals court last week, cited the debanking of Christians as a form of the across-the-spectrum discriminatory behavior by financial institutions it's seeking to curb. So according to Li Feng, and he links the following here, the CFPB was actually taking the side of Christians who had been debanked. And goes on, the new free speech on financial platform push, led by the CFPB director Rohit Chopra, opens up a significant rift within the Biden administration and offers a glimpse of potential ideological realignment. So you have CFPB rebelling against the Biden administration to protect the free speech related political debanking. In recent years, activists from both the right and the left have been banned from bank accounts and digital financial platforms over political speech related allegations with virtually no due process. A phenomenon informally known as debanking. Hundreds of supporters of the anti-vaccine mandate Canadian truckers movement were debanked and left with no access to bank accounts and had money removed from PayPal accounts over nebulous claims around misinformation. Pro-life groups such as Arkansas Family Council and Ruth Institute have similarly lost access to bank services with JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo over allegations that the organization promote hate. Meanwhile, over the last year, activists in the U.S. and U.K. supporting Palestinian humanitarian causes have received notifications that fundraising accounts have been blocked and transactions frozen. The issue present, a new cross-current of unlikely bedfellows. Christian conservatives and a flank of Republican legislators are fighting alongside populist Biden administration figures such as Chopra for free speech rights and new protections against debanking. They are up against an alliance of tech giants and banking lobbyists, along with some voices at the Department of Homeland Security and liberal nonprofits who favor unlimited corporate rights to remove users over allegations of misinformation or hate. So we have here the CFPB teaming up with Christians and other debanked people against the Mark Andreessens, the Peter Thiels, the Elon Musks, and the banking lobbyists, also against the Department of Homeland Security and the liberal nonprofits. That's the USAID squad. The CFPB was actually fighting against the USAID NGO network, the corrupt Department of Homeland Security, all these. While prominent Democrats have embraced speech restrictions, Chopra, remember was at least the former head of CFPB, has charted his own course to reach out to the right. In remarks earlier this summer before the Federalist Society, Chopra argued that the growth of financial tech platforms has increased the dangers of private actors engaging in, quote, oppressive or censorious behavior with no democratic recourse for ordinary Americans. Venmo and PayPal, Chopra noted, had set terms of use that allowed the company to confiscate money from their users for activities unrelated to payments, such as political beliefs or speech. This was scary for us, gods. We got this notice. They didn't directly threaten us, but we got the email that said, hey, we're updating our terms of service. If we don't like your politics, we'll charge you, I think it was something crazy. It was like, we'll charge you $1,200 for everything you say we don't like. And they just take it out of your account. See his comments below, and then they have the video there. The words have followed with actions. The CFPB appellate filing explicitly defending Christians' free speech from debanking was part of a response to an injunction imposed in September 2023 by a federal judge in Texas, who sided with a group of bank trade associations seeking to overturn an update to the CFPB's examination manual. The updated manual was designed to allow regulators to classify discriminatory conduct as unfair, a legal term of art that could bring further scrutiny to non-credit financial institutions that have banned users over speech-related concerns. So that's talking about the CFPB putting rules in place that you can't debank people for their politics. GOP officials... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm kind of doing a little digging around in the background while you're reading this.
Yeah.
And it appears to me that it's a little messy, but it appears to me...
Of course it is. That's
it appears to me that the CFPB are explicitly there to... So one of the big things they do is AML, which is anti-money laundering. They enforce anti-money laundering to all these financial institutions, banks, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's why... If you're crypto, if you're new fintech, all this stuff, you're susceptible to. It's just new, and so that one of the big things against crypto is, you people can launder money through crypto, so you got to really enforce the anti-money laundering,
right?
And that's where the CFPB can come in and pressure somebody and say, hey, these guys are trying to bring in this vehicle, this financial vehicle that can potentially create all kinds of money laundering, so crack down on that. But then they're also saying, okay, we're going to crack down on that, like money laundering and all these different things, but not speech. Like, we're not here to monitor people's speech when it comes to, preventing them from having banks or bank accounts. Another thing that they're very supportive of, CFPB, is the ESG, or at least they had been. They were big on the environmental social governance initiatives. So it's interesting. It's almost like the CFPB are like, no. You're right, Christians. Like, we'll support you in not debanking because of your beliefs or your speech or something like that.
Right.
But also hey, we can't. We got to crack down on.
So that's kind of the where it comes full circle here.
Okay.
Because that's what we're trying to do. All right. In our attempt to try to stay as authentic in our search for truth as possible, and not just take the side of Elon because of Elon, or to Lee Fang because of Lee Fang, or whatever.
Right.
But, and I think this is important, USAID was pretty straightforward. There's very few things that USAID was doing that you could call defensible.
Right.
Almost nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the left, they wanted their LGBTQ opera in Argentina or whatever. And they, tried to convince you that the transgender mice wasn't a real thing when it was. But the CFPB is this very interesting situation. And that's why I started out with the sort of slow roll. There is this very, surgical slowing of the destruction of the CFPB. Because on one hand, yes, they are the agency responsible for like making it annoying to like track crypto and, making all these rules because of money laundering with Bitcoin or
Right.
something like that, and
A
other
lot of
stuff.
banks over comply because they're afraid that they're going to get some kind of regulatory action from the CFPB.
Right.
So
Exactly.
They
It's a
created
regulatory
climate.
agency.
It's a regulatory agency. So they created the climate to make banks fear them, and so it's easier to debank than not. But then when they start debanking for speech, they were like, "Oh, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that." But that makes it
which
really
is
confusing for everybody.
well, right, and this is how it is. I mean, we're talking about reality now. This is
Right.
politics. Like
Yeah.
it isn't that
It's not black
it's
and
so easy to fall into the like, the black and white Trump good, Elon good, and I don't know,
Kamala bad. Although I don't
Biden
know,
is
there's-
bad, Kamala is bad, but
There's not
now
much
we're
support.
talking more about as we move into this, whatever the next version of the country looks like, how much regulation, how much government, how much, like you can't have no regulation because RFK wants to regulate putting, poison in the foods. We should regulate putting poison in the food, right? And sure, there should be some regulation in banking. For instance, you shouldn't be able to debank someone because of their speech or political beliefs.
Right.
So, I thought it was important to point out this CFPB thing because, it's at least the previous guy stood up to the Biden administration, stood up to the debanking, stood up to some of the like craziest stuff that was going on in the past 5 years. And when I see Mark Andreessen,
That's what I was gonna say.
Andreessen, who
You got to look at Andreessen's motives. What are
Exactly.
his motives? And it becomes very clear. Yeah.
Yes, and Mark Andreessen, big tech guy, wants to be your bank, is buddies with all the other guys who want to be your bank, Peter Thiel with PayPal. Notice his complaint. His complaint was that it's terrorizing financial institutions, regulating against competition. Which he literally just said. I mean, using the word terrorizing is like, okay, we get it.
That is propaganda.
It's personal for
It's
him.
propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, terrorizing financial institutions means personally being a pain in the butt for tech guys who want to do Venmo or PayPal.
Who want to take over the world. Yeah.
Or X Money, which is X
That's
is
a big one.
Elon Musk's banking. He wants to attach to X. He wants to be
That's
the
right.
everything app. And CFPB does stand in the way of Elon, just kind of being able to do whatever he wants with X Money, which is like he could do X Money right now. In fact, they're already moving forward with it.
They got licensed. They got
It's
money
all
transmitter
they're all
licenses in,
licensed.
like,
they're all ready to go.
33 states or something. across the
Yeah.
country, yeah.
But
Maybe it's more
take I'm sure there's more to all this with CFPB. I'm not saying this is a comprehensive picture, but this is a great opportunity for us to have a reality check and say, wait a second, Mark Andreessen is terrorized by the CFPB. Maybe that's not such a bad thing for
make it
the
difficult
billionaires.
for them,
For
for the billionaire tech bros to just start having banking licenses everywhere. Maybe slow that down a little bit or make it a little bit difficult.
where they can just write their own EULA, write their own constitution because of the network state issue.
Yeah,
They don't want government agencies to be involved because we're moving from the nation state to the network state. The network state of X will be your bank for those citizens of X, and they want to write their own financial constitution. They don't want oversight over it. And so, this of course includes their ability, X's ability, to debank whoever they want for whatever reason. It's the current status quo. And so,
And you
so
never
there
know.
you go.
Maybe CFPB jumped on to defend Christian speech as a survival mechanism as well. It's possible that they saw the turning of the tide. They kind of noticed that, hey, the techno bros are going to be in office basically.
Yeah,
And
that could be.
if they want to survive any of that or something, that maybe, hey, we go out there and we say we're defending Christian free speech, and that way,
Maybe, although the
it'll be
voters,
easier
it is
to
an
let down.
independent agency. There's no
That's true.
elected officials in
That's
CFPB.
true. You're
Nobody's
right.
getting elected as CFPB head. And it was in 2023, so it was a little early. It's just another opportunity, much like how we discussed at the beginning of the show, to remember that things are a little bit more complicated. We're talking about warring factions. There are government agencies that do good things, even if they also do bad things. As is illustrated by CFPB and illustrated by NIH and regulating poison in foods for kids. So those are just some examples. And watching this move slow. I mean, the mainstream news stories about the CFPB right now are literally like, it's going slow. It's held up in court. Even the current Trump-appointed head of CFPB is kind of like, hold on a second. So it's not just, of course, Elon has something to gain by just getting rid of it. But whoever Trump put in there, the Trump guy, I think it's Martinez, who is head of CFPB, is also like, hey, slow down there. There's probably some stuff we can keep around. And so I think you see it's actually a good sort of friction, a good back and forth between, Elon doing stuff for Elon's sake and the Trump the actual administration, the cabinet, Trump's guys. So I think this is actually a good sign for anybody who is afraid that, the momentum, the Trump momentum could kind of overdo it a little bit. And, it's kind of in line with what Elon says, which is like, yeah, we're just going to cut. And if we cut too much, we'll just put it back. So I think we're seeing, CNN is kind of putting this in the terms of like, oh, DOGE is going too far. But what I think we see here is the system actually working. The sort of DOGE Trump sort of friction where they're finding some sort of balance and they're going through the courts and they're figuring it out. How involved is Elizabeth Warren in the CFPB? I don't actually really know. However, it is, that's her thing. She's like the get rid of credit cards lady or whatever. So it's kind of in line with her platform. But I don't know. I mean, maybe she's on like a committee or something that's involved. So I say we just get Liz Warren out of there and clean it up.
It was part of her big financial reform. It looks like back in 2007. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's her little baby. It came out as part of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street reform. So yeah, right after the financial crisis in 2008.
Yeah.
So
which is good. I mean, it was pretty.
You
clear
guys have a
back
choice, everybody. CFPB or Bitcoin. All right, you get to pick.
Why no los dos? All right, Guns. I think that's enough about that. Unless you have anything else.
No, I think that's it. You wanna talk about
Canada?
Our friends up north.
Yes,
our friends up north. Eh? Yeah.
Our beloved
Canada. Yes.
I would like to give a shout out. Actually, real quick, before we jump fully into Canada, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's on the Canary Cry text message alert system, baby. You're here. And if you're not on the Canary Cry text message alert system, you should get on it because, of course, you're going to get unsubscribed without even realizing it. You're going to get... stop getting notifications. It's just going to happen. This is the world we live in. So if you want a more direct connection to us, we'll let you know when we go live. We'll let you know if we get kicked off something. But let's be honest, people like it because they can text us back. And that's the fun part. I read everything that gets texted. We read some here on the show. I can't carry on a conversation because it's very expensive. But everybody right now, take out your phone, text the word canary to 877-740-3226, baby. And, this is perfect. The timing is perfect. Okay. So I wanted to bring up, well, let me first say this. Shout out to some people who have been texting. 509 texts and says, in the conversation on Thursday, Basil kept calling John the Baptist crazy. I think that he was 2,000 years ahead of his time. He beat Lady Gaga with his camel hair fashion chic, and he beat Bill Gates to the bug eating trend. So if you want to know what's going to be hip in 2026, look at what was trending in Judea circa 30 AD. That's a good point. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of John the Baptist talk on the last Kinnear Cry Collins show.
Is he dead? Maybe he didn't even die.
Who knows? Inspired
alive.
by your Beyond the Verse mini documentary.
Ah, yes.
651 says, still waiting. Twin Cities, Minnesota people, get that meetup going. Merlot of the Sevens. Thank you, Merlot of the Sevens. Yeah, Twin Cities, Minnesota people. You've got Canarians in that area begging for a meetup. Put on a meetup. Let us know about it. 505 says, let's go, boys. Looking forward to the show. I thank you both for everything y'all do. You really do break a lot of stuff before everyone else I listen to. Can't tell you how many times I've witnessed this. Lol. Love the show. Love you both. And Gons, thank you for the AOD series. Like many others, it brought me to Christ about 11 years ago. I gave my life to him at the end of it. At the same time, my twin brother did too. You guys have a huge impact on what I do this day and the knowledge I know, research, and expose. More importantly, the knowledge of Jesus Christ, though. Thank you for everything, and God bless. Jeremy Stone of By Their Fruits podcast. Oh,
hey, there you go.
Okay.
Thank
By
you.
Their Fruits podcast.
Their
Jeremy
Fruits.
Stone, By Their Fruits podcast. Go check that out. I love it. I mean, first of all, Guns, we haven't mentioned it a whole lot on the show, but today is kind of a downer day for both of us. You know, it's that time of the month where we start questioning everything that we've devoted our lives to and all the choices.
I was threatening Basil that I was going to walk off a cliff.
Don't worry, we'll put a big pile of marshmallows on the bottom of the cliff. But yes, you know, it's that time. Happens about every lunar,
it feels
lunar
very
cycle.
Often. Yeah, I don't know.
But
hey, we are coming up on the anniversary of Canary Cry on Sunday, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
13
have to.
years.
What is that? 13 years. Okay, big 13.
Teenager. We're going to become teenagers.
Finally, we're finally going to get
becoming a teenager.
Our
Great.
big boy podcast body.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy Stone, by Their Fruits podcast. Go check him out.
Yeah.
And it's what my point was. It's messages like these that kind of help remind us that it's okay. We don't need to walk off a bridge today. Our whole life hasn't been a waste. You know, this kind of stuff. So thank you very much, Jeremy. Let me see. One more here. 780 says, yeah, it's going to get tough for us Canadians, but our national anthem says, God keep our land glorious and free, so we'll be fine. Thank you very much, 780. So there you go,
Canada.
folks. Text the word canary to 877-740-3226. Now, this is very interesting timing. We have had someone who has been calling themselves the Angry Canadian, who has been texting the number. And I've been reading all of them. I haven't been doing them on the show because honestly, it's just too much to read on the show. They're angry, but not necessarily like inappropriate. But it's like just walls of text, right?
Is it? Are you sure that they're not a Canarian that is being spell checked into being Canadian?
No,
okay,
totally.
That happens a lot.
It does, but no. This is a Canadian.
Okay.
I'm going to call them the Angry Canadian. That's what they call themselves.
Yep. Okay.
As an example. Let's see here. I'll just read one because this kind of gets this point across.
Is that even possible? I don't think Canadians can be angry.
Well, this is the point that we are going to be talking about today, Gons, because we've got a lot of wonderful Canadians. I mean, the Canarians and the Canadians are so close, so intertwined, that they're only separated by one letter in their spelling, okay?
Yeah, I know.
So here is one of the Canadians who's been writing in. He says, hey, Basil, Angry Canadian here again. Sorry about the rant from last week. I'm not going to read you that one. The theatrics and pomp of your crazy country get under our skins up here. Quote, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Remember, we live in the upside-down kingdom where the wise of this world are made foolish and the foolish things of this world are proven wise. I caution you and the show to steer well clear of political alignments of any kind and encourage you to examine the super psyop of American exceptionalism. I love the show, but when you and Gon start waxing poetic on what amounts to the economic ruin of my country, that you already heavily profit from by meddling in our affairs like you do to everyone else, because you elected an irrational orange man baby to zero-sum negotiate all your closest allies to death, I feel like throwing up. You two speak all day about the corruption of America and the havoc it wreaks throughout the earth, and then turn around and get a tear in your eye for the Star-Spangled Banner drooped over the coffin of a dead young man who died not for your freedom and safety, but for the racketeering of your elites. He died because they played him, and you all now stand up and recite the pledge in front of the Stars and Stripes, little kiddies.
Wow.
So
they are angry.
So it's an angry Canadian. Now, here's what I think is going on. And he did follow that up with P.S. Even your best hockey players are half Canadian. P.P.S. You guys don't seem to care too much about hockey, but prefer sports you can play while either being morbidly obese
that's actually not true. Hockey is huge.
Depends where you are. Depends where you are.
Even in Southern California, there are a lot of people who love hockey. And
okay, let's not get caught up. But
I'm just saying.
Or while being, we certainly don't compare to Canadians' obsession with hockey.
I'm sure, yes.
Or while being regularly obese, standing around with a glove and a fat dinger tucked into the bottom lip. Oh, chewing tobacco.
Okay.
P.P.P.S. I'm only kidding. Canada and America are like brothers, really. Only one brother is way bigger and way stronger and has a severe mood disorder combined with an insatiable lust for power, profits, and the blood of the innocent. Now, first of all, I want to say, and Gons, you can say something if you want, I don't think this person said anything we disagree with, except for I feel like maybe there's a little bit of projection going on here. Because while a lot of his... or her, I don't actually know if it's a male or female. I don't know. Accusations, I guess. Accusations about our attitude here on the show being sort of... I don't really understand it. Like, he gives us credit for calling things out and talking about how America is like an empirical force of destruction and collapses, like all that stuff. But then we also have patriotism. I think I get the impression that he thinks it's okay to be patriotic for Canada, but not patriotic for America. Just an angry Canadian, you know? And I'm like, wow, this is really something. I can obviously tell they are passionate. They're passionate. They are getting... You know, I really don't think that we are sort of doing everything that he's saying, but I could see if somebody was in a certain frame of mind, like, let's say they actually believed that America was going to invade Canada, or let's say they were rightly patriotic about the country they live in, Canada, and they didn't like, you know, being told that
they're gonna
that their economy could be at risk. Or, you know, it's okay for Canadians to be mad at the situation and even be mad at America. That's fine. But I think anybody who heard some of those accusations, it's like, yeah, it's an angry person. We get it. So I didn't take it too personally, right?
Sure.
And that's kind of when I started paying more attention to the Canada stuff. And we haven't done any huge reports on Canada because it's kind of crazy to try to follow it. And it's every day it's changing.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a little boots on the ground next week.
And that was back, yes. And we are taking steps to rectify this directly from Canadians' mouth. Now, that was back all the way on March 3rd. This sort of vibe continued like for the whole week now. March 6th came in with a nice big thing, kind of basically saying that America's Rome and what destroyed Rome was comfort and, you know, hedonism, and that's America. And that's like, hey, I'll agree with you there. I think we'll all agree with that. Then another one on March 6th. From the outside, you sure look like a population that clamors for bread and circus. Yeah, I hear you. This is going to be my value for value contribution to the show. I'm going to reflect America to you as a foreigner. Take it or leave it. Okay, here we are. We are reflecting.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. And then again on March 7th, Morning Basil, the area around the site I'm working on right now is home to many bald eagles. And he goes into a very poetic description of how bald eagles are like trash birds and how the Canada goose is like this noble, which is fine. It's cool.
That's actually very funny. I
and
think that's
he's
a fine debate to have.
He's again very patriotic for his own country. That's great, but not allowed to be patriotic for America apparently. But look, if I had to choose between a bird living in my house, I'd probably choose the goose. It's good eating on Christmas and isn't going to claw my eyeballs out. Although to his description, the bald eagle might make a great sort of trash compactor person. Now, literally at 1:32, about a half hour ago, hey, Basil and Gons, all I feel is anger right now when I get these updates. So I'm not even sure what updates. I think maybe he's replying to the text that sent out that said, uh-oh, Canada. So maybe it's just sort of a trigger. He says, so I'm checking out for a bit. The show title does not help. Whether or not you guys ultimately support Trump and his antics, I'm not sure. Okay. I just can't wrap my head around his thought pattern and how that way of thinking appears to be so popular among Americans. I have a family to support, and what he is doing has the potential to profoundly hurt my ability to do that. Yeah, I think we're all kind of dealing with similar stuff.
I have
it's like
my
all of us.
oldest daughter had a lot of words for Trump based on some of the programs that he implemented, and she lost her job basically because of it. So she had some choice words for Trump. So yeah, of course,
we're all sort of dealing with it. Makes sense. Yeah, we're all trying to figure it out. I mean, this show. I mean, producership in the past month.
Yeah, everyone quit. All the producers quit.
Just quit, basically.
They just quit. They're like, Trump's in office, we won, or whatever.
Or whatever's going on. Yeah. The tariffs. We need you guys. We need you guys more than you need us. I think talking about Canada and America. He's right about that. I'm just not sure why that is reason enough for him and for seemingly many Americans to treat a neighbor and a friend so poorly. Maybe it goes back to the general lack of awareness Americans tend to have about a wider world around them, or the social conditioning you guys are saturated with. I don't know. The world economy is going to recede and retract, and atop that scuttled ship will old lady Liberty, and she won't even understand what's happening to her. The world's capital will seek safety primarily in China. And the era of American hegemony will close. So
okay. Part of it, I think, also, isn't Canada wrapped up in a lot of Chinese infiltration, as is America? But isn't Canada also?
Chinese
stuff going on there?
You know what else is going on is China is tariffing Canada as well.
Yeah.
On that note, here's my entry for Canary Cry Bingo. Michael Knowles of Daily Wire is exposed an extremely closeted homosexual. That's possible. I mean, I don't, who knows?
That's not, I mean, okay. Yeah.
Catch you guys later.
Anyway.
Let's finish out here. Catch you guys later, perhaps. I need to get my head and my faith straight about this stuff. And then he unsubscribed from the text message list. Yeah. So there you go. This kind of actually is the perfect introduction to the Canadian segment that I wanted to do, and also the interview that hopefully we'll have out next week. So, and in response, I can't not read this. 406 just texted. It says, Canadians are silly. Angry Canadian is generalizing hard. He made me an angry American. See how this works?
The anger is spreading.
See how this works?
Hey, maybe it's a good thing that this person unsubscribed. We don't like to hate
I support his or her decision to unsubscribe. That's fine. I don't want to be triggering anybody. I mean, especially with the text message today. It's just the title of the episode. And so, yeah, unsubscribe if you're getting that triggered. Now, we have a lot of Canadian producers. Some of our most wonderful producers are Canadians. In fact, the angry Canadian referenced Canary Cry Bingo, which is made by Dame Miss G Beauty, a Canadian producer who made the bingo. And I'm, watching this guy text for a week or more. I'm like, what is going on over there? And without burying the lead, I'll just let you know, you got to remember, the propaganda, this person is under the impression that propaganda only exists in America.
It only works in one direction.
That whatever this guy is getting, and remind you, he's not getting the Canada stuff from us, because we have barely talked about Canada. We have maybe updated something on the tariffs maybe once in the past month or something.
Right. Well, I'm sure with the posturing from Trump about in 51st state and all that, it's gotten heated discussions.
Yes,
all around
and they are taking it extremely
Very
seriously.
serious. Yeah, very
there,
seriously.
I started taking a look through what's going on. Remember, they are just replacing Justin Trudeau. So there was an election-ish type thing that just happened up in Canada, and I start watching these videos. Turns out that all of the people trying to win the election in Canada were threatening that Trump was literally going to invade militarily. Like, a military invasion of Canada was being preached from the pulpit of their elections as a reason why they need to vote the Liberals back in. Justin Trudeau's party. Now, I think in this current situation, I need to educate myself a little bit more. I think this was just the replacement of Justin Trudeau, which means the party itself votes in its own guy before they do like a big whole thing. But here's just an example. This is a clip from Chrystia Freeland. Now, Chrystia Freeland, you might remember, is the person pretty much primarily responsible for the debanking of the Canadian truckers. It is known and reported widely now in Canada that she has Nazi sympathizers as her grandfather. And she was responsible, partially responsible at least, for the whole little debacle when Canadian Parliament stood up and they all cheered and clapped for a Nazi, a literal Nazi.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
That's the Chrystia Freeland we're talking about here. And here's a little clip from her last week.
A few weeks ago in Saskatoon, I met a little 4-year-old girl. She asked me whether I could prevent Trump from invading our country. And that's why I am standing to lead the Liberal Party and to become the next Prime Minister of Canada.
There's no way that happened. A 4-year-old girl asking if Trump is going to invade the... It sounds like a good campaign speech is what that sounds like. We're just watching campaign... there's no possible... I'm telling you, Canadians, maybe... I see what you're seeing up there. Like, I see what they're telling you. The propaganda is absolutely off the charts. I think maybe... And I say this lovingly to our Canadian producers. Look, we have this weird cultural shift going on in the United States. Leadership has changed from liberal to conservative. The media is very slowly trying to balance out. The balance of power is switching over to the conservative side. That is not happening in Canada. You still have your Liberal Party, Justin Trudeau, the ones who took away your bank accounts, the ones who locked you down, the ones who did all the bad stuff. They are still in control in your country. They are still doing all the marketing, the propaganda. And we see here as this gal, Chrystia Freeland, who is supposed to be stepping down, but apparently she decided not to do that, is trying to become prime minister by making up this story of a 4-year-old girl so scared of Trump militarily invading Canada. I'm telling you right now, Canadians, literally nobody in America is taking seriously a military invasion of Canada. It is not happening. It is not anything anybody wants. This is Trump, art of the deal being Trump. It's just Trump saying crazy stuff. It's what he does. You just kind of got to get used to it. Now, on the other hand, Canada has really put up a valiant effort to push against this tariff thing. Gonzi, anything to say?
Yeah, there was a couple things kind of brewing around in my
Sorry
brain,
to
but
plow
you
through it
kind of
like
you kind of
that,
went
yeah.
through stuff, and it seems like it's been lost a little bit. But I was gonna say, don't underestimate 4-year-olds for one, because my 4-year-old son just asked the other day if everybody is a child of God. So, but it does show that what you talk about around the house, what you expose your children to, they will regurgitate. They will repeat it out loud. So maybe she has a 4-year-old around the family that asked that question, but it did not come from a vacuum. It came from them screaming about Trump and whatever, like some conversation, some adult conversation that they were having about, Trump's. And then if a 4-year-old is hearing that, of course, Mr. Trump can invade the country. Like, I could see that happening. But
of course,
even if it's not, I mean, it's still to use it in a political speech
to
campaign scare
speech.
people. Like,
it's
man,
a
come
campaign speech.
It's a campaign speech. Yeah.
Okay, Americans, settle down. Come on. 850 just texted, "Oh, snap, dog. More like Justin True. Don't forget I'm Castro's illegitimate son." Come on, we're having fun. I will say the Angry Canadian referenced Michael Knowles. And I do try to keep up with Michael Knowles as much as I can. Michael Knowles, I think the Angry Canadians may be kind of mixing up us and Michael Knowles. Because Michael Knowles is very into American exceptionalism. He's like, the American empire is great. We are the global hegemon. We're going to stay that way. Anybody who wants to mess with us, I don't care. I support America bullying people. Like, that's who Michael Knowles is. I have a feeling that this Angry Canadian hopefully is also taking a break from Michael Knowles.
I hadn't considered that our show, like what we say on air, depending on what your palette of podcasts is for the listener, like our stuff would hit differently.
Totally.
Like if they're listening to a lot of Michael Knowles and then we jump in, like our stuff might hit differently than if they're listening to something else.
100%.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's, kind of took a jab at Michael Knowles tells me he listens to Michael Knowles, and he's getting triggered by Michael Knowles, who regularly, every episode is American exceptionalism. And that's kind of what people like about Michael Knowles, is he's not afraid to sort of shamelessly, almost as a caricature, almost like, not Jon Stewart, but Stephen Colbert. Remember his original show where he played this character of like a right-wing guy? That's kind of like Michael Knowles. So I could see the Angry Canadian getting triggered by that, and then sort of projecting it on us, or having whatever we say.
Mention Canada, and all of a sudden we're
got a weird taste in his mouth,
Americans, right? Or something, yeah.
Okay, so the tariff thing is going back and forth. I'm going to skip a bunch of stuff for time here, but the point is tariffs threats are getting thrown around. Trump is threatening tariffs. Canada is threatening tariffs. There's lots of talk about Trump is going to destroy. The reality is, and this is not American exceptionalism, please hear me, I'm not bragging about this, but the reality is, and Trump knows this, and this is what Trump's doing, is that he knows that both Mexico and Canada, God bless him, love both of those countries, love all of our producers from those countries. They wouldn't survive a few months with some extreme tariffs by Trump. It's just not going to happen. And it's unfortunate that that's the case, but Trump knows that's the case, and he's bullying them. And, in valiant fashion, Canada is wanting to stand up and kind of be strong and not sort of bend to Trump too easily. But the fact of the matter is that there's nothing they can do. Now, people have been throwing around, Trump is talking about 10% tariff, 25% tariff, 20% back and forth on different things. And then actually a bunch of Canadians have been posting their own sort of anti-establishment Canadian content about like, hey, Canada's been tariffing America out the wazoo. There's like a 300% tariff on butter going from America to Canada, another 250% on milk, a couple 100% on this, a couple hundred. So, talk about tariffs. This is what Trump is talking about when he says it's sort of uneven and it's unfair. So if you want a little insight onto sort of the American viewpoint, and not all of us, like, I don't know, things were working fine for me, I guess, but Trump's sort of perspective on it is like, yo, you're tariffing our stuff 300%. I'm just going to do 10%, knowing that that's a devastating amount. And I'm not defending the tariffs, and I hope they don't go into play. I want all of it to end. But, Trump is trying to slow down the economy because he needs the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. But that's for a bigger conversation.
Yeah, it's a bigger thing. It is interesting. It's interesting that you bring Chrystia Freeland into this, because part of what's come out over the last few years, I guess it's all coming out more so now, but there are some intelligence documents suggesting that the Chinese government interfered with the Canadian elections.
Oh, yeah, totally.
In 2019 and 2021.
Yes.
And one of the targets was Chrystia Freeland. So, it's complicated. It's complicated. And we don't know the angle or what Trump is trying to do with it. It could be that, hey, we're pushing Canada to do certain things so that they can shake China as well.
Well, that's what it is. There's stuff that we don't know, and that's the thing, is that Canada has been an enemy to America culturally for quite some time.
Right.
Culturally, Canada has been Trump's enemy since the beginning. So, you had to have seen this coming.
But economically.
But the big problem is that now Canada, who was really, really, really friendly with China. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
Too friendly with China.
Friendly. Yeah.
And there is a lot of kind of wonky stuff going on. And I think Canada played it really well for themselves as far as taking care of Canada, taking care of themselves. They played the balance between China and America really well. But that seems to have turned, because not only is Trump doing his thing, knowing that he can get whatever he wants, because basically the leaders of Canada know that they can last a couple of months before it becomes dire.
Well, plus China's there's tariff wars between China and Canada too. They're
that was it, right?
Okay,
that was the
they're
next
putting a
thing.
bunch of tariffs against each other as well. So
meat tariffs, again, 20%.
Electric vehicles,
stuff
like that, aluminum products. Yeah.
So suddenly Canada is getting it from both sides.
Right.
And that's one thing that I'm not seeing a lot in the Canadian material that I'm seeing. It's really hard to go through Canadian clips because half of them are in French. And it's like some of them aren't captioned and stuff. But there's a lot of anger at Trump and America and those tariffs. Much less am I seeing about the Chinese tariffs, and that's a big problem.
Why aren't they mad about
Because
Xi?
The Liberals are still in power. Justin Trudeau's party is still in power, and they're trying to play the China-America game, but it's not working because they're getting it from both sides now, and it's not working out well for them. And it's bad. It's not great. So just a couple things here. Here's a clip. One of the things that was done. Did you know Canadian liquor stores, at least some of them, Canadian liquor stores are run by the government?
That doesn't surprise me.
Did you know that? Yeah. So this is Ontario pulling alcohol from LCBO. They put up a little sign, for the good of Ontario, for the good of Canada, in response to UF tariffs on Canadian goods. Products produced in the United States are no longer available until further notice. Looking for an alternative? Ask our team member about something. Canadian stuff. So they're just pulling it straight off the shelves. You can't even buy American, at least liquor. There's this clip, I think it was Doug Ford, could have been somebody else. I was talking about how Canada buys more liquor from the United States than like anything else. So they love American liquor, apparently, and the Canadian government liquor stores are pulling American liquor off the shelves. Okay.
Oh, so Canada is so Canada provinces, they do regulate alcohol. So yeah, you're right. The government literally runs liquor stores out there.
Yeah,
That's
very
crazy.
interesting. Very interesting.
Some Nordic countries.
Now, one of the biggest hullabaloos was Doug Ford. Doug Ford, not Rob Ford. Rob Ford is his brother. Not Doug Ford's different. Rob Ford, crackhead. Doug Ford, politician. Rob Ford was a politician, but then he was a drunk crackhead, and his brother is now the politician. So here's Doug Ford responding to some Trump tariffs. One of these details is that apparently a portion of New York gets all of its electricity from Canada, and looked into it. A pretty decent amount of American metropolitan areas get their electricity from Canada. Here's Doug Ford firing back.
I want to try to annihilate Ontario. I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face. So, and I'm encouraging every other province to do the same. Quebec, Manitoba, BC, we all have to act in unison. Out east, they rely on our energy. They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard. We're going to come back twice as hard. I want to
Okay. Cut off their
cut off the
energy,
energy. Yeah,
with a
that's pretty
smile on my face.
I
Strong
didn't know
words.
he could smile.
Playing a big tough guy.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
he doesn't
doing the Trump.
He doesn't smile unless he's
taking
turning
away
off
electricity,
the electricity
from
from Americans.
Maybe he's the angry Canadian that was texting us.
No, it could be. I mean, these Canadians are so angry. This is what is so surprising. Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
this
you
is
guys had the reputation for being pretty laid back, but we have seen
See,
Canadians kind of pop off.
I know that's the
recently.
reputation, but you know there was an
Psyop.
artist named it is a psyop because there was an artist named Alanis Morissette back in the day when I was a young whippersnapper, and she was Canadian, and her songs were very, very angry. Very angry. I don't know if you remember those songs, Basil. You probably don't. But there you go. There's your Canadian cultural reference for the day.
Very good.
What's this other clip of?
So yes, so this is Doug Ford. Now here's the thing, and this is the first thing I thought of when I saw this. I go, oh no, this is not going to be good.
Oh, no.
Because there have been situations. So when it comes to electricity, that as far as the United States government is concerned, is a national security issue. And you start threatening turning off electricity to the country, that's not tariffs, buddy. It's one thing to tariff. It's another thing to say you'll cut off the electricity with a smile on your face. And I thought, oh, poor Dougie.
Did he get a phone call from
somebody? Not
somebody?
going to be good. And apparently he got a phone call. Take note of his countenance and the tone of his voice and the fire in his heart on that previous clip. And now here's the follow-up.
Well, just a little while ago, I had an opportunity to speak to Secretary Lutnick. And Secretary Lutnick has sent out an olive branch to us to come down and immediately meet with him, meet with the whole trade administration, and discuss the future. Rather than waiting till April the 2nd, threats going back and forth, tit for tat, I've agreed to suspend temporarily, and we always have that tool in our toolkit, until we sit down over the next day or two. I'll be heading down to Washington along with Dominic LeBlanc, and
Suspend what?
we'll have a good discussion. You know, and with any negotiation that we have,
is turning off the
there's
electricity.
a point that both parties are heated and the temperature needs to come down. And I thought this was the right
Pause
decision.
that real quick.
There's one way to bring the temperature down.
Temperature
Cut the
needs to come
electricity,
down.
baby.
So yeah, that's a good point. So he sounded a little different. He obviously
sounds
got a
very
call.
defeated.
So
Wow,
it
he
sounds
he
different.
saw the boss or something. Shaking.
Thanking Lutnick for the call. Lutnick, just going off personality, Doug Ford, as you can see, has quite the strong personality at times. Lutnick, he's the guy who's ready to just turn off the Fed. He's the guy talking about taking away. Like, Lutnick is a brash man. I do not envy somebody getting a call from Lutnick after threatening to turn off the electricity to the United States.
He's the one that wants to shut down Lutnick, the one that wants to shut down the IRS, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Boom,
doesn't
boom.
care.
There you
He
go.
is
Let's
just
go.
like a
Let's
crazy
shut
man.
down the IRS. Let's
I
do it.
imagine Lutnick with he has brass knuckles on each hand, but also holding a baseball bat for some reason. Like, just very
and there's like a crew of people behind him with some weapons.
Like, just doesn't have anything to lose, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, like, not necessarily like some sort of
Mob boss or something.
Mob boss or something, right? But somebody who just obviously has shown that he has nothing to lose. You know, you talk about taking away income tax, you talk about shutting down the Fed, like you're courting death, like talking about those things. And he just doesn't care. And so he was the guy, yeah, apparently who made the call, extended the olive branch.
He extended the olive branch. Was it
olive branch?
Was it a Trojan horse olive branch? Was it a silencer on a gun?
Sounds like he was told. It sounds like he was told to call it an olive branch.
Yeah,
just from what we know about Lutnick. Now, he also used the phrase "turn down the temperature," which is a great Biden era phrase. Remember Biden turning down the temperature? We got to turn down the temperature.
It's cold.
All right, let's keep playing this, Doug.
They understand how serious we are about the electricity and the tariffs.
It's so serious.
Rather than going back and forth and having threats to each other, we have both agreed, let cooler heads prevail. We need to sit down and move this forward. This is a massive deal, the USMCA, which the federal government will be leading the charge. I'll be sitting down with all our premiers tomorrow as well and discussing this and their issues as well. So we're going to go down there and we're going to go down there with confidence. We're going to go down there with strength. And again, hopefully we can move this forward. I feel as a province, and I only speak for the province of Ontario, I want to reaffirm I do not speak for any other premiers. Everyone's very patriotic, and we have the best premiers I've ever seen. But we're going to be talking about the USMCA moving forward. The worst thing that could happen is wait and let this drag out until April the 2nd. So we're going to move forward and have a very good conversation with Secretary Lutnick and the whole trade team, as he said, and hopefully we can move this forward, because it doesn't benefit anyone, as I told him, no matter if it's the auto sector or any other sector here in Canada and specifically Ontario. And all I mentioned, assembly lines will shut down in the US and Canada. The stock market is tumbling over $4 trillion. Consumer confidence has went down. I said it's absolute chaos out there right now. We need to move forward jointly. I emphasized how Canadians love Americans, and I know Americans love Canadians, but going back and forth with each other, it just hurts both countries. So I want to thank Secretary Lutnick for reaching out, putting that olive branch, and I've been in business a number of years, a lot of negotiations, and part of the last negotiation, when someone does that, you have to respect that person for putting out that olive branch, and I'm going to make sure we go down there and have a very good but strong and confident conversation.
Okay.
He's strong and confident, and we're very strong and confident. And I'm strong and I'm confident, and we're going to go down there and be
You know what's strong and confident is that prior clip where he's talking about shutting down energy.
Yeah.
And you're not going to push
a couple
us
of
around.
things. You come to us. No, you're coming down here.
Yeah.
You're going to come down here, and we're going to talk. And you're going to be strong
That
and
is
confident.
interesting, yeah.
And thanking Lutnick a couple times, I get the sense that Doug Ford was doing the right thing for his country. He was doing the right thing for his people. He was being strong. He was playing the game. And unfortunately, the reality is that Trump and Lutnick, they just got nothing to lose. And so it's the thing with negotiation, is whoever's ready to walk away first is who's going to win. And
it's true with a lot of just head-to-heads.
Yeah,
you get two guys in a bar fight. Like, one guy doesn't care about dying. He might have a little more energy than.
Yeah, and I don't think it's American exceptionalism to just recognize the reality that yeah, the United States is in a position to get whatever it wants. It always has been, and it
It's a
always has.
military
Just what it
monster.
does.
It's the head of the beast.
And especially Trump, the guy who's been pushed around for too long, the guy who on a global stage has
That's
been
true. Yeah,
sort of attacked, and Justin Trudeau specifically. Every time one of these things happens, not only is it just a reality check for everybody, but it's also, Trump has a lot of personal stuff that is encouraging him to just flex the power of the country that he's now the leader of. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to make that American exceptionalism. It's just kind of the truth. So Doug Ford's doing the right thing there, I think. That April 2nd date that he mentioned a couple times was the date where a massive tariff was going to go on the automobile industry, I believe, which basically just would have instantaneously shut down the entire Canadian automobile sector. So he wants to get ahead of it. Don't want to get too close to that April 2nd.
Yeah, the meeting is happening, tomorrow? Thursday? Something like that?
Yeah, something
Apparently
like
it's
that.
happening soon because the headlines today say, this is Reuters, Canada announces $29.8 billion in retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., and Canada's retaliation targets steel, aluminum, and other U.S. imports. Targeted goods include computers, sports equipment, cast iron products.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's
a lot of
the
things.
latest,
a lot of things
before the negotiations tomorrow.
Yeah, so there are tariffs back and forth that are still taking effect for sure. I want to know what the actual deal is. Like, what does Trump actually want? All he's really said is, help me get fentanyl out of the country. And it's like, we know that's a problem, certainly.
Well, see, that's what makes me think this is kind of a China thing. It's almost like
there has to be. It has to be a China thing.
Like kicking the little brother, like, hey, get in line. Like, we're trying to get rid of this other enemy here, and like us bickering is not going to help the situation. Same with Mexico, by the way. So this is almost like a North America. It goes back to the NAU thing,
It is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And thank you, because that's the whole thing. It is obviously about China. Mm-hmm. Mexico has also taken some steps against China recently, and that's why we're not hearing a lot of stuff about Mexico. It has to be about China. And so what's going on is that the United States and China, instead of what it has been, which is United States and China trying to woo Canada to get their support, both of those superpowers are now like, okay, I guess we're just going to have to, whoever bullies you the most, like, do you want to rely on China and face American tariffs, or do you want to rely on the United States and face Chinese tariffs? Right. And so both China and the United States are using these tariffs as threats to get Canada in line. And no, not our Canadian producers. No, not the Canadian people. This is Canadian leadership. And of course, the Technate, the North American Union is I think he even mentioned the what was it? The MACU or something? Like isn't that the Mexico, Canada, USA?
Yeah, it's the North American Union. It's the
Union.
NAU.
Yeah, he mentioned it multiple times in his little speech.
That's why people like us, we were like, whoa. This was like a big talking point 15 years ago from conspiracy theorists saying that they're trying to create at least a North American Union to start consolidating the world order type thing.
Yeah,
and
so
that was exposed by Trump, but then now he's pushing it too. So it's like, oh.
So that's what's so sad when I see things like the angry Canadian who, is obviously extremely affected. He's affected by the propaganda, of military invasion. He's affected by the tariffs, obviously the tariffs and the economics down here are not great as well. Of course, a trade war is not good for anybody, except for it'll force Jerome Powell to lower rates so that we can refinance $7 trillion worth of debt for the United States. But that's like a totally separate thing. Yep. It's the North American Union. It's forcing Canada out of its close ties with China to cleave more closely with the United States and Mexico, and probably, unfortunately for some people, inevitably, Greenland will be included in that. Just
Well,
saying, I'm just stating facts. I'm not.
I know. Well,
this is not
that's,
American
you know.
exceptionalism. This is just, I see it happening.
As
and
we already have
just happening.
under ice bunkers and bases up there.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a a what's the word? A coincidence that I don't see Sir Marty K in the chat here today. So, no, just kidding. Not calling you out, Sir Marty.
Just to land the plane here, the episode on China.
Welcome to Chinese news.
Comes from China. 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 It's not racist at all, no.
Chinese
This is coming from English.news.cn. I believe it is a Chinese outlet. The headline here is China achieves world's first application of hydrogen energy technology in Antarctica.
Ooh.
They've done it. Beijing,
Great job.
China's independently developed hydrogen fuel cell, has successfully generated electricity at the country's Kinling station in Antarctica, marking the first ever application of hydrogen energy technology in the polar region, China Science Daily reported on Wednesday. The fuel cell, developed by a hydrogen energy technology enterprise under the State Power Investment Corporation, serves as a core component of the station's microgrid system. The system is equipped with a hydrogen storage tank that boasts a maximum capacity of 50 cubic meters. When operating independently, the fuel cell can deliver continuous power to the station for up to 24 days with a maximum output of 30 kilowatts. Designed, can you use that? You could probably use that on your
I could use one of those. That'd be great.
Yeah. Designed for modular scalability, the fuel cell system covers a power range from 50 kilowatts to tens of megawatts. It can achieve power generation efficiently of 50% and a combined heat and power efficiency of over 90%, boasting a design lifespan of 40,000 hours.
Wow. That's
It's like
pretty
an
impressive.
advertisement.
Yeah.
It goes into some more here. We don't need to do everything. The successful application in Antarctica validates the reliability of hydrogen fuel cell technology in extreme low temperature environments, addressing a critical gap in the use of hydrogen energy in polar energy systems. It also establishes a benchmark for the construction of energy systems and microgrids in other harsh low temperature environments.
Where are they setting this up? Did it say where?
Antarctica.
I know, but they don't have a claim. Where are they?
Where
are they?
The Kinling Station in Antarctica. It's their little science. Remember they do their science experiments?
Whose claim is that? I know it's Australia. That's Australia's claim. Okay.
Is it?
I believe it's Australia. Yeah.
Okay. Let me double check that.
I mean, Australia is
I'm
letting
pretty sure
letting
you're right,
them use their land. I don't think
Yeah.
China has an official claim down there.
It says here, Kinling Station is an Antarctic research station operated by the Polar Research Institute of China, situated, design history.
No, the situated is the important part. Like, whose claim is it on?
Situated on the southern edge of Inexpressible Island in Terra Nova Bay, Scott Coast, Victoria Island on the Ross Sea coast of East Antarctica. Country operator, China. It just says China, dude. That doesn't really have any other.
No, I believe
Here we go. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, not that it matters.
Signals intelligence and for tracking rockets launched at the Space Center in Australia.
Yeah, it's Australia. I believe it's. We read about this base before. It's
I know,
Australia
that's why I'm
letting
trying to
China
remember.
build their little thing there.
Okay. One more thing.
Okay.
One more check.
One
Just
more.
because you brought
All
it up. I do want to. Do we have producers to thank?
Yeah, we got a few producers who came in during the show, and a couple. So it's a short list, but we can do it real quick.
Yeah, let's do it real quick, just because.
Yeah, we're on the value for value model, folks. Time, talent, treasure, whatever it is. You can volunteer with us. You can create art. You can create music, whatever it is. Or you can support the show with your financial resources, whatever the Lord's blessed you with. Of course, nobody should be putting themselves in harm's way, but value for value is an excellent way to participate in what God is doing outside the grip and the view of corporate incentives who wish to control your mind with advertising. So here's some producers who came in to support the show. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've got producer American Hobo.
American Hobo. Thank you.
Yeah. Came in for 2332. That's fun. Fun number. Thank you, American Hobo.
American Hobo. Thank you.
We had Runk Smash. Producer Runk Smash came in for 1111.
And for 1111. Look at that.
11.
You know,
Says,
I was just thinking. Oh, go ahead. Read the note.
His note says, "Hey, y'all, things are better at work now, so I can finally support again. Still no time to write, so microfictions are done for now, but I still love you. In addition, I'm paying some debt off to buy a house." Great. Good job.
There you go.
Please pray for me and my family, Runk Smash. We will pray for you, Runk Smash. We never have ceased praying for you, Runk Smash. You want to hit the producers just because he requested?
Sure.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. You can also support the show by being a pray-ducer. It's easy. Just pray for the show, pray for the producers, pray for Gons and I, that when we wake up, we can take that first step towards doing what we're supposed to do. And we're putting Runk Smash on the list. Sounds like things are heading in the right direction for Runk Smash. We're praying for you and your family, buddy.
Yep, absolutely. And I just was reminded, I think he has some microfiction that he sent in that we still haven't done yet. I think there's some on the burner, so I got to check that out. Also, real quick, Basil, it's New Zealand. That area belongs to New Zealand.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, or at least the dependency or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know New Zealand had.
Yeah, they got a bunch. They got a bunch of stuff down there. Yeah.
Good job, New Zealand.
All right.
Continue. Producer Aaron B comes in again.
Aaron B, thank you.
Aaron B actually came in last week too. I thanked him on the call-in show, but I'll thank him here as well. Came in for 777 and then came in for 3333 plus fees.
Hey, there you go.
Illuminatus!
Thank you.
On a 6-episode streak.
Hey, that's a pretty good streak. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yes.
That's a streak. On fire?
He's on fire. You're on fire, Aaron B. Thank you very much. He sent a note, said, knee deep in mud rain. What are they spraying? I know. Who knows? We also had Sir Jamie, not the Lannister, come in for a nice round number, and he sent a note. He says, the pressure of the T-shirt council is too much. If I double my monthly contribution, can I choose 2 shirts? I want all of them. Yes, that's right, folks. The Canary Cry T-shirt council, the vote is on. So if you are a Canary Cry T-shirt council member, go sign up. Well, don't sign up. Find the survey in your email list or in your inbox there. You got to make your voice heard because the Canary Cry T-shirt council is filled with the smartest people in the world making the most important decisions in the world. Then they get a T-shirt for it. So go check your inbox. Get that survey in, I believe, by next Wednesday. And folks, go join the Canary Cry T-shirt council, canarycrytshirtcouncil.com.
Yep.
And to answer your question, Sir Jamie, yeah, that's fine. You can I guess you could sign up for 2. You can get 2 votes every
I was
time.
gonna say it's maybe 2 votes, but not 2 shirts. I think.
Well,
it's
if he
a couple
signs
shirts.
up for 2 T-shirt council accounts, 2 subscriptions, then you get a vote for every subscription,
Right,
And
so
you
he's got
also
another
get
vote.
you also get a T-shirt for every subscription.
Oh,
so
true.
technically.
Okay.
Some billionaire out there could buy their way. They could buy the election. You could literally buy the Canary Cry T-shirt election.
We need somebody like Bezos and his 500 alt accounts all subscribe to the T-shirt council.
That's right. The sad part is it wouldn't take that many. It wouldn't take that many memberships to the T-shirt council to do it. Oh goodness gracious! I don't think I sent out the email today.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
I just clicked over to my MailChimp tab, and it shows that I didn't send it. Well, that's very unfortunate. That could explain a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I'll send it now.
Send it now. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to mention, what my hope was to be able to pull up the T-shirt survey very quickly. Before I before the show, I checked on the t-shirt survey. It's close again. These are always really close. So your vote matters. Every vote matters on the t-shirt survey. So go do it.
Yep. I wanted to thank some producers for their talent real quick because there's only a couple
Okay, yes,
people.
there's one last person to thank.
Okay, all right.
There's Cage Rattler Coffee. CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Rattler Coffee. Yes.
Go over there. Go CageRattlerCoffee.com. Look, we get it. You don't have value for value scratch. Is that the case? That's okay. You got to buy coffee anyways. You might as well buy it from a producer-led company, Cage Rattler Coffee. A portion of every sale goes to support the show. And there's this beautiful jingle.
Cage Rattler Coffee. Where value for value never tasted so good.
See?
It gave you an opportunity to stop talking, but I love that it rolled over.
I timed it perfect. I timed it perfectly. So go do that. CageRattlerCoffee.com. That's not a forever thing. Those are actually selling out. So if you've been thinking about it or humming and hawing or just haven't done it, jump over there now. Don't wait because stock is running out, and if we need to redo stock, with all these tariffs, who knows how long that's going to take.
True.
So
That's
don't wait. Don't hum and haw. Don't say you'll get it later. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. Support the show and drink the coffee. Competitive prices and the best coffee in the metaverse.
Yep. You can also support the show with your talent. Go to canarycry.art and submit some kind of art that helps us build the culture behind the community. We have a couple people to thank real quickly. The first one is Jonathan F.
Jonathan
He has a note here that simply states 5th Gen Warfare Jingle. We have a couple of them, but maybe it's a new one.
In 5th generation warfare, part of what I call it is I call it a war of narratives where there's distraction, there's deception, truth, media, propaganda.
Very good.
Ooh, that's
Thank
a
you
good
very
one.
much. Yeah, appreciate it. We'll add
Freshen
that to
it
the
up.
list. Thank you, Jonathan F. As always, we also have a piece of art from Mark A. Mark A. Good to see Mark A. It's been a while since we got a Mark A piece. He says, "Shalom, boys. Somewhere in an alternate reality, Basil and Gons are president. P.S. I drew this on way too small of a canvas. Sorry." Yeah, there's a little bit of pixelation going on, but it's okay. So this is to the whole thing today. It's Trump. Are you as Trump and me as Elon in front of the White House and a Tesla?
Yeah, it's very good. And the speed at which this got cranked out is excellent.
Yeah, very good. Very
Beautiful.
well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan F. And thank you, Mark A., for your beautiful talent to help us build the culture behind the community. You can go to canarycry.art to learn more.
Is that all the art?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Cool Runnings Mon just tried to sign back up for the text message alert system. Just a heads up for anybody trying to sign back up. You got to text Canary. Start doesn't do it. So text the word Canary. Let's see here. Cool Runnings Mon here. Since marrying a Canadian and a Canarian. Since marrying a Canadian and talking to Albertans about the politics, you realize that while U.S. politics is out of control of the people, Canadian politics doesn't even pretend that politics is within reach of the people's influence. Their patriotism is completely removed from their ability to participate in reshaping its destiny. In America, the people believe that we can, however, through the grand theater of the office of the presidency. Yeah. That's just the illusion. Cool Runnings Mon. Thanks for the thing. Join the Canary Cry text message alert system. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Let us know what you think about Canadian politics or Canadians. Got to get some Canada love in the text message list, because how else are we going to keep our Canadian listeners? I feel them slipping away, eh?
All right. That's it. Time to go. I got to get out of here. I just missed a couple text messages.
Okay, get on out of here, folks. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the producers, of course. Thank you to the Clippies. Thank you to the timestampers. Thank you to, apparently the Telegram has been handed off. I'll find the new leader of the Telegram, but thank you to Sentinel for starting that. Adam42 for the Discord, Jam for the links, Joe for the feedback, Clank for clanking, and share the show, please. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. We call it Rattling Cages. All you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
Oh no. What happened?
Done it.
Yeah, here we go. There we
The
go.
end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah. All right, Gons, any last words?
Call-in show tomorrow. I think we might have a little mini flyby or something on Friday.
Yep.
Which is Pi Day. Congratulations, everybody, on Pi Day.
Fun.
And then next Sunday, is the Canary Cry anniversary.
Wow, 13 years.
13 years, yep.
And we've never had a fight. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, dig outside the cage.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Give me a break.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Let's invite some dudes over and fellowship tonight.
I love the Great Reset. Toilets! Toilets!
This is the United States of America, for God's sake. Armageddon's on the way.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.